with a couple of our favorites, Mr. James of J Rod Photo Art, and of course, Jeffrey Neville of Selective Imagery. How you guys doing today? Favorites, Mr. James.
Doing good.
Yeah,
Doing good.
taking some much deserved time off. I'm off till Monday, which is awesome. Get to maybe do a little shooting and a little turkey eating.
All right, sounds great. Pre-Thanksgiving here in America, and for all those that are in America, I'll say Happy Thanksgiving since we won't see each other until afterwards, until Saturday. And for those of you that aren't, partake in our Thanksgiving Day with us maybe tomorrow. Hope everybody in America, for the majority, will be off tomorrow, watching TV, getting fat and happy on turkey and all the other things that go along with it.
Yeah. TVs will be on in the morning, I'm sure, watching the Macy's Day Parade.
Yep, a tradition. It was at one time a tradition, but I don't know. Things are changing. So we got Mike Farwell, ATR Bear, Ted. How you doing? Martin Hild. All right, Ray Powell, Alan Barnes, Manila Martin. I'm looking through here. Joe Stroud's already in here with us. All right, man. Glad to see everybody in here for the pre-Thanksgiving Day show. So, Albert Jimenez, also Greg Wilson, nature photography, Charles Davis. Man, the house is filling up. That's great, guys. I'm glad to see all these familiar faces. Always welcoming new faces in here as well. This is a big round table chat room for everybody. So glad to see everybody's already in here. Gregory Franz from Cape Town, South Africa. Welcome.
Wow.
Gregory.
That's awesome.
Welcome.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
absolutely. I picked a topic today, which is kind of ironic. The topic is, have YouTubers hit a slump? Because I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but looking around at everything that's all the content that's coming out, there's a lot of rehashing of lenses, a lot of rehashing of cameras, a lot of rehashing of everything. I don't see a lot of new. So is it just me that thinks that maybe YouTube's in a slump? Is it a seasonal thing? Does this happen every year? Is it the seasons changing? We're going from green to brown for a lot of us. Some of you that doesn't apply to, but for us, especially over here in New England, man, it goes brown and there's just no foliage left, and I don't know. But is it the case? Is it a case of there is a seasonal slump in YouTube content? I don't know, and that includes live streams because, as you guys know, I just cannot come up with topics for 100 and some odd topics a year. And I don't know that I really need to because this is just a big round table, as I said before, where we all just get in here and talk. And no matter what I pick, you guys are going to change it pretty quickly. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. So, just wondering, curious if you guys feel the same way. Of course, we're going to get into Black Friday week. There are already quite a few sales out there. I'm going to mention a few just in case people haven't been out looking. You may have already seen it. It may not be something you're interested in, but maybe somebody else is. So, hang on. We got another. Oh, look, we got Mr. Brian from Huff Photo.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, Brian.
Going good, buddy. Going good. How you doing?
Going.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Robert Varner.
I think what you're saying is true. I think partly people are kind of burnt out a little bit too. I mean, a whole year of doing YouTube stuff wears you down, and then change of seasons isn't helping, and getting ready for the holidays. So I think a little bit of everything.
I agree. It's not just seasonal as in weather, but seasonal as all the things that are beginning to happen or coming. We're coming up on. As you see, James is already in his Santa hat. Because that's the way it is in America. We begin Santa or putting out Christmas decorations in Home Depot, Lowe's, and all the other big hardware stores in July. So which he mentioned earlier. The Christmas decorations are already out at
Yep.
Home Depot. But hey, Jeffrey, I'm going to personally go on a search for a Black Friday deal for you and audio because you're crackling again.
Well,
We're
I'm
gonna
using the microphone on my computer, so I know there's nothing wrong with it. So it's got to be a thing with me and Restream that don't get along.
I don't know, man, but you're crackling again. But you know what? We got to find you a mixer and a microphone is what we need to do.
I've had this problem. I'm actually trying to work back in my brain and figure out what it was. It's a driver. I think it was a driver. I had the same problem with that exact same crackle in Adobe Audition. And I
All
think
right.
it was a driver situation.
And make sure you don't
But
have
you're
other stuff running on your computer that's trying to access
you're
the
on a
mic.
Mac though, right?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac Studio right now using that microphone, and
See, I'm
and
using Windows, so yours
and
shouldn't be a
and the,
driver issue.
and the thing is, when I switch to my other mic and it does the same thing, I just recorded a video this morning and used my mic, and it worked absolutely fine. You know, my external mic. So I just don't understand why there's this issue.
Yeah. I don't know, man, but it's crackling again, brother. I hate to
Well,
tell
I'm
you.
going to switch to the other mic, and I bet you it's going to still do it.
All right.
That's interesting.
Charles, yes, you heard your name. Absolutely, buddy. Good to see you in here. Robert Varner, I think I mentioned. Happy Thanksgiving. Flintlock, how you doing? So Arthur's in here. Blah, 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 blah. And Charles just ordered a UHD monitor this morning. Great deal, buddy. Great deal. Hope you got a great deal on it with his Black Friday sales.
Charles also has something coming in the mail from me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There you go, Charles. It's already Christmas.
That's
Santa's spoken. Jeff and Leslie Wildlife Photography. Happy Thanksgiving.
Lower Cash. Flintlock.
Uh,
You got a full house today, Chuck.
yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. Glad to see everybody in here.
Oh, I love a big 32-inch monitor. I think mine's 32 or 34, a little bit of curve on it. Yeah, it's big monitors are nice.
Yeah, Jeff, you're absolutely right. That could be it, and I'll get Jeffrey to talk, see if it's crackling again. I do. There is a small adjustment that I can make here on my end in Restream, and we'll try that. See if it's what it is. If it's clipping.
Well, I switched mics, so am I still clipping? Am I still making?
Nope,
No,
you're
sounds good.
You're
Go,
good.
I'll go figure.
Default for audio settings inside Reason.
Yeah. Are you running Big Sur 11.3.1 on your operating system, Jeffrey?
No, I'm using the latest and greatest that just came, which
All
is
right.
let's see, what is it here? The new, I just updated Mac OS Ventura.
Ventura. Okay. This was a problem I found in Big Sur, so obviously the problem carried on. But there's a lot of people in a forum here that I found that are having the same problem. I've not found a repair yet, though. But maybe you figured it out just now changing mics. Who knows? That's weird.
No, but I just keep switching
So
mics
weird.
constantly. That's all. And sometimes I get lucky, and sometimes I don't. But it makes no sense.
All right. Well, we're good to go now. We're not going to troubleshoot.
Yep, we're good.
We're good now. Don't breathe. Don't breathe.
I won't talk, and then it won't do it.
Yeah,
Jeffrey, I have to
Flintlock.
start a mime channel.
Arthur, I got your email, so I got your photos. I'll put those in the mix, or I'll put a photo in the mix for the review. The review is December 3rd, and I know that for certain now because I did look at the calendar. Sorry about all the confusion. The 4th, the 6th. You know, Saturdays is jumping all around this December. It can't figure out what day it wants to be on. But anyway, December 3rd photo review. I put a bunch of photos in the folder today, so if you got a response, that means you're in. If you sent it in the last week or so and I haven't responded to you saying got it, send it again, folks. I'm trying to pick through all the emails I get and make sure I got you guys covered. Excuse me. All right. Stuart, good to see you. Daryl, I got your photo. You should have got a response from me.
The long rider.
Long Rider in here. I haven't got to the bottom yet, guys. Sorry, I'm not watching the.
And Chuck,
No.
I'll try to get a photo out to you.
All right. Yeah, for anybody that wants to submit a photo, by all means do so, and I'll make sure. If you don't get a response from me in a day or two, then send me an email saying, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever. I just want to make sure that I get everybody in this time before we actually start the show. Uh, Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for the confirmation there. Stuart, you still have time. You still have time. Mm,
You know
Charles
what?
on the big monitor, man. I need another monitor.
Need
But
one. Need one.
yep, but storage is first, and I am definitely going to get the storage thing taken care of. And I noticed over on Nikon Amateur page, if you guys aren't a member and you'd like to join Nikon Amateur page, it's just a Facebook page, a Facebook group. Nikon Amateur Group is the actual name of it. And let me see if I can find something to put up here. There we go. Let's put this up here for a minute. If you'd like to join, there it is. And Mr. Mozman dropped a couple of recommendations for storage, things that he's found. And I absolutely appreciate that because, again, that's going to be my next purchase. Even though there's so many other things I want, I got to get the storage thing taken care of before Greg Wilson gets in here and asks me about it again. Have you done it yet?
Have you
Hassan,
picked out which one you're going to go with, Chuck?
no, I'm waiting to see what is actually going to be on sale. It's going to be a RAID system. Now that I understand
Okay.
that a little bit, um, I just need to find the right one for the right price, and I'm
If you
hoping.
find, yeah, if you find that, would you mind emailing it?
Absolutely, certainly will, brother. Certainly
Awesome.
will.
I'm in the same boat. I need storage.
So I use a
Yep.
Synology drive. I'm very happy with it. Very easy to set up. Um, you know, I'm running 4 terabytes, so that's 4 terabytes of storage.
Yep.
And
And that's
it's
what I've been looking for is not 4 terabytes, but for something that's large enough. I'm not going to have to daisy chain anything or
yeah,
upgrade anytime soon. I'd like to get at least I'd like to get 20 terabyte, but
wow,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know, the cost on that goes up significantly,
it
but at
does.
least 12 or 16, I think, to begin with.
I've
But
got
it's
about 30
yeah,
terabytes right now, but they're all these little Western Digital, like 4 terabyte
yeah,
drives. And I have
it's so
one
easy. Yeah,
14, yeah, I have a 14 terabyte and an 8 terabyte side by side that are like my master backup, and they're
Yep.
both full, and I have no more room.
you got to
Yeah.
get it on. You got to mirror those up, rate them up. I mean,
Oh,
one
yeah.
little problem. I'm in IT, right? So hard drives go bad. I mean,
Right.
and the number one archival format today is redundant hard drives. So
That's what I've got. I've got these were
yep,
my originals, and I've redundant them to these
Watson,
bigger ones. So I actually
yeah,
have triple copies.
That's cool. So Maz says that you think he saw some 28 terabyte drives for 299 each.
wow,
Man,
what?
Maz, that's right up
Oh my
my
God.
alley, man. If I could just figure out, is that just for the drives? That's not the enclosure, I guess, but the enclosures
And
aren't.
enclosures are cheap. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not that bad.
So I need to piece it together. That's exactly what I'm looking for,
Yep.
man. That would be great. That would be perfect for me. Mm. So a lot of people talking about see very start of the stream. Who is the gentleman? Oh, I'm sorry. So Stuart missed the very beginning. So Stuart, I'll go around the horn here and let them reintroduce themselves now that we're on track. Go ahead, James. Kick it off.
Merry Christmas. Almost. Hey, happy Turkey Week. I am James from J Rod Photo Art. I try to jump in here and take advantage, especially on my days off. But yeah, I'm just an amateur, having fun, enjoying all these live streams. Such a great community, great crowd, lots of learning, good stuff. So yeah, I'm out on J Rod Photo Art on YouTube and Flickr, and also Instagram. So I'm out there. Yeah.
All right, I think that's what he was asking about. He sees Jeffrey and Brian in here enough, maybe, but anyway, Jeffrey Neville of Selective Imagery. Say hello, Jeffrey.
Hello, everybody. If I'm not crackling,
You
You
are.
okay. Goodbye, everybody.
No, don't go goodbye. Don't go goodbye. All right. And Brian Brian Huff Photo. Say hello, Mr. Brian.
Hey guys, how's it going? Excited to be here again. I love being able to be a part of these because I learn so much. If I can learn to, and that's crazy to me to think about. When a lot of people it's amateur, or they say they're professional or whatever. I'm a photographer and I've been one for over 14 years, and I'm still learning things, and that's what I love. Like you're never done learning.
All
So,
right.
and this has been a great place to learn and share. And I sent you an email, Chuck, because I
All
forgot to
right.
send in a photo this month. But I'm muting
Well,
my mic because I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. There's leaf blowing outside my door today, and it's so loud.
I I can't hear it. So it's not bothering us here. So Maz is going to post those drives up on the Facebook group. That's let me drop that in there again. It goes away every time I pull up a comment. But for those of you that would like to join, just share your photos over there. You can share as many as you want, as often as you want. That's what it's there for, is just to share photos with the community. And quite a few people are, I think we're up to about 60 some odd people over there. I haven't been tending to it like I should, and I'm sorry about that, but that goes along with everything else that's going on in my life right now. But you're welcome to uh, join, and I'm considering opening it back up instead of a private group, making it an open group. I entertain your all's ideas, and you can drop a comment over there on the Nikon Amateurs group page. Um,
Is there benefit to having it a public group, or I don't know?
well,
I don't deal much with groups.
there are some people that were concerned initially about getting spammed and things like that because being an open group and they can look and see everybody in the group unless you're
That makes
unless you
sense.
if you've not joined in the private group, then they can't see who else is in the group. But so anyway, I'm trying to keep up here. Point log, you need a mirror set. Mosman, I saw an older Synology NOS system, which that's not necessarily for me, guys, but anybody that wants the NOS system, that may be a good deal. T-Mid, good to see you, brother. Jumping in for lunch, I see. Good deal. Or maybe the day off prior to Thanksgiving. I don't know, but good to see you. You're welcome to join the panel if you like. Just let me know, T-Mid. And thanks, Moz, man. I appreciate that. Definitely want to try to get this together. I've been looking, but again, I'm a novice when it comes to NOS and RAID and everything else, which I am so appreciative of you, Moz, for taking the time the other night to talk to us about it, especially for hillbillies like me. And there may be a few others out there. Jeff,
I think I resemble that comment.
uh, I don't know. I'm not going to point any fingers, but I'll let people acknowledge for themselves. 36 IT. I'm really through. Excuse me. I think thorough in backups. Time Machine local. Uh, I don't know what Triple C is. See, there you go, man.
Yeah, see, I had problems with Time Machine because what I didn't realize was my Time Machine backups, and it may have been a setting, and this was I was on Mac years ago, but my Time Machine would, as I would run out of hard drive space, would go backwards in time and start deleting files from the backup to make more room, and yeah, that I lost a lot of stuff doing that. Luckily, I had a redundant backup, but my Time Machine lost a lot of stuff for me.
Let's see. Hmm.
Okay.
Oh, for me.
Stuart,
This is for
go ahead.
me.
Okay,
Or,
so I had a
or
setting
Jeffrey.
wrong.
Well, I don't have the Restream software on my computer. I am not subscribed to Restream. I just click on Chuck's
Yeah,
link to get on.
it's web based.
Yeah, it's just a browser based. thing.
But there are
That's
settings.
what's so confusing. Honestly, that's what's so confusing because it's not even actually technically running through anything other than just the operating system and whatever web browser you. Hey, maybe it's a web browser issue.
Some people say stream doesn't like Safari. And that's what I run on.
I use Google Chrome.
Yeah, I had to quit using Safari too. I use Google for running the live stream and the free stream software. I had problems with Safari also. Safari seems to bog down too so much. Rice Krispies. There you go. Anybody help out Brian, Six String Brian, hoping to get some deals on CF Express A cards. I haven't seen any A cards or yet, but then again, I haven't been looking, Brian. So I don't know. Maybe somebody else can help us out here. All right, Rakesh. I guess I've got to do all this at once. Let me make sure. Let me get over here to Nikon Amateurs Group, and I will approve everybody that is just asked. Hang on just
On
a
Jeff
second.
and Leslie's comment there, I would love to cull photos, but most of mine are weddings that I shot for 14 years, so I can't. And I've literally had insurance companies call, and I've been able to replace photos from like houses getting burned and stuff. So I keep them. I keep everything backed up as long as humanly possible. But I would love to cull some stuff.
All right. Rakesh got you and Daryl got you. You're now in the group. And this is the reason I want to open this up, I think, rather than have a private group so people that do want to join can. All right. J Rod, I see you're responding about the Eagles. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it was a good day. Amar and I met up at the Conowingo Dam. Was it last Sunday? Sunday before last. You know, it was a good time. There's a lot of photographers there, and we actually got some good pictures in. So
Good deal. Good deal. Hey,
I love
Tony,
your
don't worry about it. I don't care what you shoot. You
Yeah,
know,
don't care, man. We should
I know I've got
look
Nikon amateur.
look behind me. I shoot.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff that doesn't say Nikon on it. So
I love D Moots. That's your lightning photo there. I love photographing lightning. That's one of my favorites.
Mhm. It got killed with spam. My group will
my
discuss.
man should share something he just bought that supposedly is great for getting lightning shots. He bought some
Infrared
device.
trigger.
He bought a triggering device that can trigger on sounds, on all sorts of different things.
It detects. There's an infrared blast that goes out that we can't see with our eyes, but this thing picks it up. I had a friend of mine that bought one of those like $400 like 8 years ago, and she would put it on the hot shoe and it would watch for that infrared burst that would happen before a lightning strike and trigger the camera just before the strike would hit. And I was like, okay, let's put that up against my technique of how I shoot and see how many I get versus your trigger.
Yeah.
And
right, film camera, no gadgets.
She sent that thing back. Well, one of my top awarded photos right now online is a lightning shot, and it cracks me up because I shot it with the kit lens of the Z30, and it was handheld with a 10-second exposure.
That's awesome.
All right.
I love shooting
hey,
lightning.
Maz.
It's so fun.
Hey, Maz and Jeff, thanks for the info. So I guess what I need to ask for now is there anybody that would like to be a moderator or whatever an admin on the Facebook group? If anybody would like to be an admin, let me know, because I seriously do need some help in just monitoring, making sure that people that request to join can join. We'll leave it private based on the feedback you guys just gave me, and that makes sense. So, all right. I'll get away from that. Hey, Mike, we'll talk about that in a minute. Thanks for bringing it up. I did see it, and you're right. It brought about some conversation. That's the Grays, not stream but video they just published here recently.
Well,
Um,
question, but I think it swayed way in the mirrorless direction.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that's just where we're heading. I know there are people that are holdouts for good reasons, that they have. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. We always go back to gear some point in time, anyways.
Yeah.
All
This
right.
time it was not me.
Well, Rick,
So
It
which
might have been. I don't know.
you might want to go back to one of Chuck's prior streams there when Mozman talked about these systems, because it's not something that you could just say this is what is perfect for everyone, because everybody has different price points and everybody has different storage requirements. So the best thing would be to go back. What was it, last Saturday's discussion, Chuck?
Saturday
Yeah,
before last? Was it
Yeah,
last Saturday?
the last Saturday.
I
Or the
can't
one
remember, but
before?
Mozman's
I
in
don't know.
here, so
Yeah,
It had to be
Mozman.
Saturday before last because I was in the woods and I still haven't
yeah,
finished watching all that stuff because there was so much information.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, especially for a knucklehead like me,
It's,
that was
it's something
definitely a
we
lot.
could talk about for another hour here and just kind of regurgitate what's already been discussed. So you might want to just go back
Yeah.
and
And it was
Hey,
such an overwhelming amount of data. Like I couldn't even I thought, oh, I'll just casually listen to it in one ear while I'm hanging out. And I couldn't because it was so much that I just had to quit. I'm like, I'm going to have to literally watch this and do nothing else because there's so much information in that stream.
hey, Stuart, I hate to hear that, man, but I guess you got to deal with the circumstances. But so now we know if you go missing, at least we know you didn't leave. It's just a power load shedding. Okay.
Why does Stuart picture remind me of somebody?
It kind of looks like the V, doesn't it?
He does.
The Vahagan.
I'll tell you,
Jasper, good to see you. Not seen you in a while, buddy.
I was looking at the Nikon sales and they got some great sales, but unfortunately, when it comes to cameras, for me, because of my primary genre, most of them will not work for me. But I did perk up a little bit, and I picked on Chuck a little and said, now's the time to get the Z30.
There you go. I think you should get the Z30 and have a permanent streaming platform set up so you don't have to mess with it every time.
I'm actually streaming on my Z5 today just to see how it would work out.
They got it with the developer's kit for like $250 off. It's a really good deal with a lens.
Hey Jeff, have you tried going to Google Chrome and opening this through Google Chrome? And that's what Moz is asking.
I tried it once. I think I did that once, but I don't usually use Chrome.
Like I said, I had problems with Safari as well. I use Chrome for just about everything. Now I am watching the broadcast on another computer and monitor over here to my left, and I'm doing that through Safari, and it's fine because there's no audio or anything. It just has to basically show. But I'll get a alert sometimes saying what power consumption for this channel is, whatever causing problems or whatever. I don't ever get anything like that in Google. All right.
Hey,
So
Jeff,
Greg,
any updates on the 800?
No, I gave up on that.
I don't blame you,
I'm
Jeff.
not gonna get the 800. I mean, I'm stupidly actually thinking about getting the. I'm on the list for the 600. Believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Whether I do it or not, or have a heart attack while I'm thinking about it, I don't know. Whichever comes first.
I saw a guy with the 400 4.5 with the 2X on there, and he was having a great day on a nice bright day. So that is a really cheap option compared to the 800 or the 400. But still need a lot of light.
Well, that's the problem. I'm always shooting when the light is. Well, I mean, I'm just a morning shooter. I'm there before the sun comes up, and I'm shooting sometimes when it's pretty much still dark out almost.
I wish I was a morning person. Not.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
I might try to go out tomorrow morning, see what I can do.
Well, I don't do afternoons because I help the wife with dinner and stuff like that. She works, I don't, so lots of times I cook. So afternoons don't really work for me. So I do mornings.
There you go, Charles. I agree, man. It's too funny. Let's see. All right. Any news about the Z8, Z6 III? Nothing that we know of right now, but we're going to get to that here later on in the show. We're always going to go back to gear. That's coming. Even though people ask me, why do you talk about gear all the time?
Yeah, we kind of can't shoot without it, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, the thing is supposedly, I don't know if it was petapixels. I think I mentioned it on the last stream. Was are going to be doing, or Tamron's going to be doing 1.4 lenses soon. So I'm assuming they're going to be for Nikon.
Somebody had a video about Sigma doing Z mount lenses,
and Sigma is supposedly talking of hinting that they may have some lenses this coming year for the Z mount system as well. So, hey,
I mean,
options are options, man. Never complain about having too much choices.
How you doing, Yaman? Good to see you in here, buddy. I don't know what time it is in where you're at, but I'm sure it's not a convenient time. Yeah, Maz. Yeah, we'll just ban everybody from the Facebook group and make it simple. Let's see. Trying to get down here again.
With what you guys shoot with wildlife, do y'all usually go into a slump during the winter time? Does it slow down? I know birds, you guys mentioned, get scarce.
Well, it's the population shifts, and you will have some more sparse days, but things do change. The eagles get active, the white pelicans show up, the ospreys will be feeding. So some things get better than what it would be like in the spring and summer, and other things get worse, and the variety of birds changes. So it depends where you are. I mean, I think the bird population in general worldwide is taking a hit in the last couple of years. Birds are not doing that well.
Everybody say hello to Mr. D. Moots Photography.
Hey, David, how you doing?
There we go. How you doing?
Sounds good, buddy. Doing good. I noticed you got some Black Friday deals going on yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I sent out some Black Friday deals to you guys today.
That is a very tempting email I'm looking at right now.
Tell us what you got, David.
David, you got to hold up what you're getting rid of here. You got to do a little show.
Well, it's a 2470 f4.
Start a swap meet.
2875 f2.8 and a 24 to 120 f4. All Z glass.
Get rid of the 24 to 120. Ooh.
Yeah, I got duplicates of stuff, and instead of just sitting around doing nothing and collecting dust, I figured somebody else might get some use out of them. Yeah, I sent that. I attached Ron to that email because I know he Vahagen said he might be looking for one of those.
Okay, good. Anybody looking for some Z glass? There you go. Get in touch with David. D. Moots Photography.
Black Friday sale.
There you
So
go,
what's
Moz man. Moz
what are you guys
man,
talking about today?
it doesn't matter to me, but I always get the ocean spray for somebody that might want cranberry sauce. So good question, though. We're talking about everything, David. You know the deal.
Yeah.
Started out with just for a topic to begin with. Are YouTubers in a creative slump right now? At least I feel that most are.
Yeah.
And again, is it the seasons or whatever? We discussed that briefly. I don't know what it is, but anyway, and most people aren't too interested in that. So here we are.
I for
I
sure
mean-
am in a slump right now.
Do you guys follow Casey Neistat?
Well,
Occasionally,
not anymore, but yeah, I used to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm the only one that was excited when he moved back to New York because, like, I was so excited. Because to me, when I started getting into YouTube, that was like Casey was like the gateway drug to YouTube for me because, like, following how he would set cameras in places, and then when you start realizing, wow, if I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to vlog it, if I want to do a style like this, then you have to go somewhere, stage the gear, walk away,
Yeah.
hope somebody doesn't steal it. Like, there's so much involved. And I don't know. I fell in love with it. So when he moved back to New York, I was just like so excited.
Yeah, I used to watch him, and I know he had a dry spell too a while back. Went into a slump. He
Yeah, it was
talked
called
about
California.
it. This is a
California
good.
seemed to like not be the place for him to be creative, but too, I mean, when you think about the time it takes away from family to do all that, and he's got 2 young kids and everything, I figured going to California was a great way to like check out for a while and be family oriented.
Mhm.
Because you notice when
Well,
he's in New York, he's just constantly going and going.
but
and
I
going.
don't think it's a location that applies to everybody. What I mean by that is it doesn't fit him, and New York is more his style. And I think
Yeah, I get that.
that was probably what hurt him. It's nothing to do with California, other than it just didn't fit his style.
Right.
At least that's my opinion.
I see that. Yeah, I can see that. No, I definitely see that.
So,
Manny Ortiz is in the building.
Hello, Manny.
Hey, Manny.
And we got Z-Wade.
On
Z
organizing.
Wade from Z Wade Photo, the Z Wade and Z Wade Photo.
Comment
Hey,
on how do you organize your gear, and I'm going to say for me, I have, like most people, more than one camera bag, and I leave a lot of stuff loose. Some of it's on the shelf behind me, and some of it's in a bag. But I pack the day before based on what I'm going to shoot, and I take with me only what I need. Not too much extra.
hey Manny, before you get out of here, any Black Friday week deals that you know of that we need to look at? I'm just wondering because I'm sure you get a lot of pings on all the deals out there. Any that you would like to share with the group here?
I know the 600 F4, the new ones are shipping now. I know a couple of people have them on the way to them. I'm hoping to
Well,
get notice on mine here real quick.
I hope you do too, David. I hope you get notice so that we can all see what this thing can really do. But I'll ask Manny real quick here. Manny, you shoot Sony. We've got a Sony shooter in here asking about deals on CF Express A cards. Any deals that you know of? Maybe Brian get a tip here on where to go find a better deal on the CF Express A, because I haven't seen Express A cards specifically, but I've seen CF Express B cards. There seem to be a lot of good deals going on for those right now.
Yeah, there is.
So here you go, Brian. 6-string Brian was asking the question. Honestly, don't know how many. I've been so disconnected with social media that I haven't seen any. Okay, well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And Mr. Vahography in the house. Yep. So I just jumped over a bunch of comments, folks. And if I missed your comments, we'll try to get back to it. But yeah, Manny, glad to have you here, buddy. Really glad to have you here. All right, take
Here's
care.
Randy, how many are they getting out? 6?
Yeah, I don't know.
600s, you know.
Well, time
Well,
will tell here. You'll
the
see
push.
if
Yeah, go ahead.
YouTube starts getting flooded with videos, you'll know.
Yeah.
It's going to, because there are a lot of people that want to see and hear, and anybody that has it. As a matter of fact, Paul's Photo just did a video, an unboxing, delivering the first 600 that he received to a customer, but the customer let him open the box and share it with everybody. So you
Yeah,
may see something from Paul's Photo here soon.
I'd love
Also,
to get mine real quick.
you knew that they were going to push an initial batch out because of the World Cup right now. You knew that
Yeah.
was coming. So there are going to be a few out there to play with. I'd like to see you get one. Then we get, from, real world. Here it is from somebody other than, an influencer or a ambassador or whatever. So
Yeah,
then
that's
you got,
why I want to get mine pretty soon, just so I could check it out, do a video on it from, not just the usual people that get them real fast, do a quick video and they never shoot them again.
yeah. Albert from the medium format junkyard, and I'm in paradise. Where is the medium format junkyard, buddy?
Yeah, Chuck,
Bahag-
Nikon has enough Z9s now that they're sending Z9 loaner kits out to NPS members on request.
Wow.
You get
Well,
a big box with, he had 100 to 400, 28 to 70, F to Z, a Z9 charger, even a tumbler. So that's kind of neat.
I found this in one of my old camera bags, and I have no clue where it came from. But it appears, and people would give me cameras all the time, so I assumed someone gave me this, and I just stuck it in my bag. But it's a Nikon, like, point and shoot film camera, and it still has the manuals and everything inside this little Nikon case, and it's like brand new. It's, as far as I know, it's never had film in it.
Huh. Yeah, Maz. I think they should do that. Swap it out for you. Give you the 600 first.
I literally thought about taking that out during the holidays and shooting some stuff with, just to even see.
Miles Man wants it. What model is it?
Mike says Adorama had Z9 in stock as of yesterday. Well, we called this many months ago when all the naysayers were, you're not going to be able to get it until 2023 or 2024. Come on, guys. We knew that wasn't going to be the case. And
Man, it says Nikon One Touch on the front of it. I don't know if that's the model of it.
Well, you've now touched it once, so I guess it's a throwaway.
Yeah, not a great name.
No.
Nobody likes to give up their secret places, but Albert's given us an area to cover here on the borderline of Brooklyn and Queens for the medium format junkyard.
Like brand new. It's never seen film. That's crazy.
Chuck, here's a question for you. How come we haven't seen any spotted videos at the World Cup games?
That's a good question. I'm wondering why we haven't. Even of the 600, which is there.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised. You're right. Is it the slump? Is it the creator slump? People just can't be bothered right now because they're in such a slump. I don't know. That's a good question.
It still has the manual. That's funny. Maybe I could put my Z30 in this little Nikon pouch that it was in.
There you go.
What kind of autofocus tracking does that little camera have?
Yeah, it says 35 millimeter.
Yes. However fast you could do this is the track.
I would say
Vahagan's out
everything
there
in front of it.
driving and listening to us, so he's enjoying the show, just listening. It's great.
It's probably infinitely in focus.
Hey, J Rod, did you get any usable shots with that 200 600?
Yes, absolutely. So if you, Amar and I are going to do a live stream, and then I sent him all my files, and we're going to
Oh, okay.
put it together. But if you look at J Rod Photo Art on Flickr, you'll see some shots out there.
Okay.
You look at the little data on there, and you'll see 200 to 600 on there.
Cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff, that's cool.
Yeah, thanks again for letting me borrow that. It worked out. Dave, do you have the Sony lens also?
I don't. I just I rented one just to check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, a friend of mine, we talk about this every once in a while. A friend of mine got rid of his Nikon gear and he bought a Sony on a 2 to 6. And that's what he wanted. And so he left the brand to get something from someone who has inventory. So what are you going to do?
That Sony 200 600's got a little heft to it. I'm hoping that whenever Nikon does come out with theirs, that it's lighter than that one.
All right. So, is there anybody that's looking for? Let me see. I'm gonna go down my list here real quick, just to bring it up, just in case somebody's interested. I'm looking at all the emails that I've received, and I'm guessing everybody else has. Maybe they just got rid of Peak Design. Peak Design right now is $97 off their carbon fiber travel tripod. Say that fast. So the little camera or the little tripod that was such a buzz with everybody when it was introduced, it's now $97 off. If there's anybody that was interested in it then and still interested in it, you can get it at a pretty decent sale price there.
I have one
Peak Design.
closet as we speak.
All right. I know a lot of people
about selling. Actually, I might be selling it.
Okay. Suray has everything on sale, it seems like. They got a big early Black Friday sale going on, up to 50% off. So I don't know what it applies to, but, Suray has quite a few products. But, wow, that was fun. But one of the things that a lot of people have been buying lately, this is on the video side of things, of course, is their anamorphic lenses. So they have a big sale going on. Anybody interested in anamorphic lenses or any other Suray product? Magmod, I'm not saying everybody's interested in all this, but if somebody is, here's your chance. They have saved 50% on their Magbox Pro headshot bundle, and I don't know what all that includes, but if you're a Magmod fan, you may want to jump over there to Magmod and see what they have on sale. I like all these 50% off sales.
I was going to say, I might be a fan at 50% off.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Capture One, save up to 50%, depending on what bundle you build with Capture One. I guess that's the way it reads here. So anybody that wanted to experiment with Capture One, rather than just the trial offer, here's your chance at up to 50% off for Capture One. So, and that's the 2023 release. Rhino, anybody interested in Rhino sliders? I was at one time, but it took them so long to get the products out the door. I lost interest, and then the price caught up with me, and I realized I don't need to spend that much money on a slider, especially since I'm not going to use it that much. But they have a 40% off sale going on right now using code Black Friday 40. Black Friday 40 for 40% off deal at Rhino. And anybody that's looked at Rhino, you know that it is quality gear, and they're proud of it too at the cost. But here's a chance to get something a little cheaper that you've wanted. And I'm just going through my little things here. Of course, Adorama and B&H have Black Friday sales going on. I was going through the Adorama, B&H Photo Black Friday deals, and there were some great things they had for sale over the Black Friday week. Little things that you may be looking for or been considering. to include cards, of course, but I didn't see anything for CF Express A. I just may have overlooked it. But if you don't mind going over there and jumping on their page for their deals, you can scroll for 2 hours through all the deals that they've got going on right now. For anybody that cares. Great discount on the Topaz products. Yep, full suite. Yaman said, and Mozman says he just bought the Topaz bundle, and it's a great deal. I can't remember how much it is, but I know you guys will chime in there and let everybody know. Nanook cases are 30% off, Rakesh says. That's a good deal. I'm always watching for Nanook and Pelican cases. You know, they'll go on sale. They'll have some sales, but once in a blue moon, they have a real rocking sale on their cases. I mean, like 50 to 70% off some of them, trying to liquidate, I guess, some of the inventory. And that's when I'm interested in looking at Pelican cases again, because I've got a bunch of them and they are great cases. So anyway, that's what I know about what's going on right now in the Black Friday world. Maybe Saturday, this will be our last chance to, except for, of course, you know, at least to prep everybody for what's expiring out there as far as these deals go, and share some more. Any deals you guys find, bring it up Saturday when we have the stream, because you know, you never know what somebody's looking for. It may not be any interest to you, but bring it up because other people may be interested in it. And of course, we got Cyber Monday. Maz, do you think Cyber Monday is going to make a difference in what's available for storage? I don't want to pass up a deal and then Monday it's like, wow. And, you know, do you think that, and I'm hoping that all the deals that are going on right now will extend through Monday, but do you think Cyber Monday is going to bring any additional deals when it comes to storage? And we'll let Mozman answer.
Comment on Yaman's question. You want to know if Peak Design was the tripod that Matt Granger's been raving about. And then Rakesh said it was, I'll probably pronounce it wrong, Hypey, Heipi. And that is correct. Actually, I have a Hypey travel tripod on order that I invested in Kickstarter. So I'm hoping to get that in the next month or so. And I invested in that, and I think it overall, even though the warranty isn't as good as the Peak Design, I think it is sturdier than the Peak Design, and so I decided to invest in that and get it at a discount. So when I get it, I'll do a review and I'll compare the two, and I might do a video on it.
Yeah, and I saw your comment there, Z Wade. Yeah, they are very proud of them. That's why I say I watch for specific sales, and once in a while, you can really get a great deal on Pelican. And Long Rider brings up that take a look at Harbor Freight, and I'll go along with that. I agree. The only thing with the Harbor Freight cases is you got to look through them, because I don't think their quality control is as good as, you know, a major manufacturer. But they are, you can, I guess the only way to say this is you can pick through them or look at them, and you can get a great deal on their cases that are really just knockoffs at Harbor Freight. It is a great place to actually check out some things, but I mean, considering the amount of
I
the
didn't even
flow
think of
of
that.
things coming out of China, you just got to pick through it.
Because
I got some great cases with full foam and everything years ago from Sam's Club, and I paid pennies on the dollar compared to the Pelican case, and they're good. They're good quality.
yeah, my Pelican case was really good, but the wheels literally
I
fell
think
off my Pelican case the other day.
it's all. I think it's made out of the same plastic.
Oh man,
Oh my God, that's funny.
Long Rider, you gonna let him bust your chops like that, man? Oh man, only Maz, man. So There you go, Mike Farwell. Bought a knockoff Pelican case Harbor Freight for a fraction of the price, and I think it's just as good as. Yes, they are waterproof. There you go. There you go. I actually checked this out. It's been a few years ago when somebody told me the same thing. Go to Harbor Freight, and I did find some cases, but I don't know. I'm just like I said. You just need to look it over before you buy to make sure that the hinge, I think it was a 1650 ish light case, like the 1650 Pelican, and they had three of them, and they were extremely cheap. And I would have bought one of them, except for the same hinge on all three was all kinds of messed up. It looked like in the mold had a problem on that hinge. But anyway, definitely worth looking at.
Well, one thing you got to look for too is if you need that pressure relief valve, if you're putting it on an airplane, some knockoffs have it and some don't.
So, and I guess this is why I bring up these. You're right, Michael. I started watching them. Okay, so my whole studio, my streaming studio, is watching for great deals on things and Black Friday deals. I bought the Rodecaster Pro when it was on sale on a Black Friday sale. I bought the microphone on a Black Friday sale, and these are a year apart, those purchases. So all the things that I've purchased for the studio, I've been collecting, and just this year, back last October, decided to put it all together and really start using it. And that's how I wound up with my studio, is finding the best deal and waiting, not having to have it right away, and picking it up a piece at a time, like Johnny Cash on the Welfare Cadillac song. Mm. Oh.
Hey, it's within a 100,000th either way.
Yeah, you gotta take it for what it is, Harbor Freight. But there are some, especially if you're looking for things you don't care, if you're going to tear up anyway, then absolutely Harbor Freight's the place to go to buy expendable tools. And that's not everything they sell, but looking forward to get used Nikon 21.8 lens on Saturday for a smaller venues price. For the smaller venues, price $564 was $705. Great deal, man. Great deal, Gregory. And the sad part is we all try to hang on to a little bit of money this time of the year for the Black Friday sales and whatnot, and wind up spending it. So when the sales come along, we're broke again.
Well,
oh man, the back and forth. Here we go. All right.
That's a good comeback, though. I'll tell you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we talked about Black Friday. We'll continue to talk about it. And yes, Maz, I am definitely interested in seeing what you found as far as the storage. I appreciate that so much. And I'm going to share it with everybody once I finally pick my storage system up. And I hope a lot of people got a lot of information out of that live stream we did. And even now, thanks for answering questions about it even now. All right. Gear. All right. I'm just going to bring up a couple of points, and then if you guys want to continue, because there already been some questions. Yes. Grace of Westminster did a video, and they're talking about the Z8 again. They're talking about the D850, and there was a question. If Nikon were to build or produce a D852 DSLR and the Z8, which would you be more compelled to buy? And I'll drop that real quick and let everybody respond to that. And as far as what Nikon's doing the rest of the year, I think you've seen it. Even though there are a couple of people that are predicting that we might see another lens, I don't see that happening. I guess it could happen. and the Z8. Now, there's a lot of discussion about the Z8. One is that Nikon had said, and there's a cryptic message that Becky tried to read, and she read into it what she saw about part shortages, and Nikon said that these things will creep up from time to time, but they're also they have what they need to produce the cameras that they have. They expect to produce another, I can't remember what it was, total number of cameras. So the
They
question,
had secured enough for 700,000 units, but
that's it.
the word secured
But
made it
well,
very muddy.
That was
well,
the cryptic.
that just
Yeah.
means you've
Yeah.
got a contract. Is all that means. Is you've got a contract. You've got a delivery schedule, and whether or not that delivery schedule is met, you don't know.
So that's my point, is everybody's going to read into it the way they want to read into it. It could
Yeah.
mean anything. It could mean they've got them on the shelf ready to go. It could mean that they just finally closed on a deal or order for those parts. I don't know. So look, if in fact they have those parts now, then will that expedite the production and announcement of the Z8? I don't know.
When they say secured, that means they just have an order and a contract signed, and they're not going to hold in inventory parts for 700,000 cameras. No, nobody does that. It's going to be just in time inventory. As they need it, they'll get delivery sent to them and whatnot. But
Is
I think the just-in-time inventory system needs to be reevaluated after what all's happened.
is there a number out there on the number of Z9 sold and actually delivered? And have you seen anything?
Not that I know of, and I don't know that we'll actually see that for a good long time.
I just didn't know if anything I hadn't seen anything, but
Yeah, if there was any information that I could get, leaked information, it wouldn't be about the cameras that are coming. It wouldn't be about or anything like that. I'd like some leaked information on just that.
yeah,
David, is on just how many units sold.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see that.
Mm.
The only reason why I say that too is if we had some numbers on that, it would make that statement about securing a little more valid about which way it actually is. Do they have them ready to go, or is it just contracts and things in place?
Well, that's why I say it's cryptic, because what parts are we talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't specify anything. Yeah.
No, and that would make a huge difference in, how we look at this.
Yeah.
And of course they're not going to give us that information. I understand that, but it would be nice if it's just chips.
They give it to stockholders, don't they? Wouldn't that be an earnings report every quarter?
Well, you talking about numbers sold by item?
I didn't know if that was a thing that stockholders would know.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody knows. It's just they don't share it.
I think it's in generalities too. Number of units sold, ILC, mirrorless, DSLR. I don't know that it goes down into the weeds. How many D850s? How many Z62s? How many Z? I don't know. Mosman says no, they don't share that with stockholders. Okay.
Well, I should rephrase my statement. I'm thinking more of the board of directors. The people at that level would probably have that information. But yeah, you or I owning stocks in Nikon, we would not be told that.
Right.
So Rakesh did some math, and if the 3,500 a month, which is what Nikon said they were building of Z9s, capacity was right, and I assume all cameras produced or sold, then 42,000 total. Doesn't seem like very many, does it?
Not really.
No.
You think they might have padded their production estimate up front just so nobody could get too bent out of shape? I would venture to say 42,000 wouldn't cover China and America. in sales.
I've been seeing quite a few Z9s coming up in the forums for sale too. People are, I think it's people that bought it and it was too much camera for them or something,
Yeah.
and now they're kind of regretting it. I've been seeing quite a few pop up, but they're wanting, new price, and it ain't going to
Yep.
happen now that it's readily available. Nobody's going to buy a used one for that price, and since they're sitting on the shelves now, pretty much.
No, you're gonna have to take at least a $500 hit at least.
Yeah, and maybe even a little more than that,
Yeah.
because
Days of $12,000 for the camera is gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that paid that, I'm sure, are trying to, they're going through some buyer's remorse right now.
Yeah.
But if you got enough money and you don't care, I guess it wouldn't bother you.
Well, that's that early adoption fee. That's what you pay
Yeah.
if you want to get in there and play the game right off the bat.
Well, I guess we're all going to be surprised by what comes around in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how's that going to play out. Is it going to be a long drawn out teaser thing for the Z8, since it is such a anticipated camera in the Nikon camp? That is.
Yeah, Mozman's comment right there, it really hits the nail on the head. There's buyer's remorse and a lot of people with really basic questions on operation of a camera, and they, it's like, if you shouldn't have bought a Z9 if you're asking that kind of questions and don't want to learn it.
Yeah, if
No,
you got to say, where's the diopter adjustment on this camera, then go home.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it.
Buy
Just kind
a
of cruise
Kodak
around there.
Instamatic
People people ask really, really basic questions about the camera, and it's like, stuff you should have known already.
Hey, Rod Van Rant, you're blocked. What do you mean you're blocked? Yeah, like paying $150K for the new Ford Lightning. Give it a year.
You'll feel like you got struck by lightning once the price drops.
Yeah. So again, now this is going to open up a can of worms come January. What's everybody going to want to talk about?
Well, what bothers me is I want another body, but I don't know that it needs to be a Z8. But the problem is I don't know what the other ones are going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm the same way, Jeffrey.
That's what bothers me is I don't want to Z8 came out. Yeah, I'm going to hop on the bandwagon and get a Z8. I don't necessarily need a Z8. I might be happy with a Z6 III or a Z7 III that'll save me a good chunk of change, but I don't know what's going to be in those.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. After New Year's, this is what we're going to go through again. We're going to go through what's coming next, which one do you want, need, or whatever. And you're right. The Z6 III, I'll tell you right now, depending on the specs on that camera, that may be the camera that I want over the Z8. I don't know. We're going to wait and see. And there's so much speculation right now on whether the Z8 is going to be the megapixel monster, which you got, I'll say, more in the camp that don't want that. But the supposed experts and influencers know so much more than we do, and they're not sharing it with us, or they're just stating their wants. That the Z8 has to be the D850 equivalent, the D850 in mirrorless, which I disagree with 100%. But it doesn't matter. We're going to have to wait and see. So that's going to be some pretty ranty discussions after the first of the year, and it's just the way it is.
We need the options because Nikon has to fill in the voids with the options, so people that are looking for that specific thing, they can still get it from Nikon.
So a lot of people are talking about now too the diffraction that comes with high megapixel cameras, especially when you get over 45 megapixels, but I guess at 60, you really stand a chance of fighting diffraction. And I don't know. I'm not a widget that knows all these bits and pieces, But how do you guys feel
Yeah.
about that? Have you followed any of those
Well,
conversations? Do they have
If
merit?
somebody looks at my photos that close, we're going to have a conversation because
Yeah,
that was a comment Richie made on a live stream
But
somewhere on a
he,
show.
he made it just recently,
Yeah,
but
just recently in the
it's
last
been
2 or 3
discussed
weeks.
for the last
Yeah,
month. So
yeah.
he's just catching up with that comment, I guess, or trying to shed some light on it. I don't know. All right.
Well, I
well,
think people are a little bit not jumping up and down about the Fuji that came out with the APS-C sensor that's 40 megapixels, because it's like an 80 megapixel. The equivalent would be an 80 megapixel on a full frame camera. So a lot of people are saying that
has
that's too
anybody in here
big.
shot the A7R4? You know,
No.
it's 61. I
No.
have, and
Okay.
it's a crop monster with that 61 megapixel
Oh,
sensor.
I bet.
You can do some heck of a lot of cropping with it. So I wouldn't be against a Z8 with 60 megapixel sensor. That would keep me from actually probably chasing an APS-C sensor. You know, you
if I
crop a
went above, if I went above the mega for what I shoot, because I do mainly portrait work. So if I went above the megapixels of the Z6, I'd still want a more manageable file than I used to have from the D810.
yeah.
The D810 files were monsters. I mean, they were just tore my computer to pieces. They were huge. And I think it's 48 megabyte per raw file I think I'm getting out of the Z6, which is like a perfect number. So I'm like, you want to give me more megapixels and more detail? That's awesome. But please figure out a way to make the raw files manageable.
So
Well,
when I talk about this, and David, I want you to carry on your thought here in just a second. So don't lose it because I'm
Yeah.
interrupting. But when I talk about the 61, is that it, and I can't answer this. I don't know. I'm not a tech weenie that can figure all the do's and don'ts out. But if 61 is approaching that diffraction issue, let's just say that at 61 it's manageable still. But and because you got people that are actually asking for 80 and 100.
Well, we've had 100, right, with the Hasselblad.
No. In a 35 millimeter sensor.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, not
Gotcha.
yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Big difference. Yeah.
When I talk about this, I'm talking about 35 millimeter sensor, not medium format. Is it going to become an issue after 60? Is it manageable at 60? I don't know the answers to this. I'm just throwing it out there for conversation.
And is it something software could possibly watch out for and correct?
Yeah, well, with AI that we have now, I mean,
Yeah.
AI is moving at tremendous speed right now. But you got the purists on one side that don't want AI doing anything for them in camera, and then other people that are more than willing to let AI help out with some of these things. But
I think
back to the megapixel, though. I mean, is 61 as far as they're going to be able to go? Because it is manageable right now, because you get a lot of people, and here's Long Rider talking about the A7R4. He didn't have a problem, but we don't know what it took to not have a problem, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think Tony Day is on to the right thing there. His comment there about diffraction at certain apertures. I don't know 100%,
Right.
but I've read some things, at certain apertures. But I've shot the A7R4 and it was totally manageable. Never had any issues with it. Above that, I don't know. Maybe 61 is that sweet spot for it, and anything over that is definitely going to be an issue.
Yeah,
on a full frame sensor.
And guys, I'm not trying to start a war here about whether one camera's or one manufacturer's 61, others 40 or whatever. It's just a question, because everybody is trending towards megapixels again. And this all started, by the way, back with the D800, if everybody remembers. And it was an all-out war in the forums over 36 megapixels. And now we're at 61. And, the big thing is Nikon's going to adopt the 61 megapixel sensor that Sony's making. Obviously, everybody has their own ingredients that go into that. It's not just the same sensor across the board. But are we hitting a point now at 35 millimeter where we're gonna have problems, and not just diffraction? Somebody brought up a couple of things here. Tony brought up again, talking about head diffraction start at 24 megapixel on APS-C around f8. Um, so are those the only problems that we could experience by going higher? And here, I haven't even read your comment yet, Tony. Yes, diffraction can be corrected to an extent, but it can and will likely introduce noise. So again, how are we going to control noise once we get above? So I don't
Interesting.
know. I don't know what you guys think. I'm happy with 45, and I'm not fighting giant megapixel cameras. I don't care as long as there's one in the lineup that I would rather have. So
I,
Nikon can make a 200 megapixel sensor. I don't care. That's probably not the camera for me. But
Well, and
anyway,
here's the deal
I
too. 45 megapixel on the Nikon, the 61. Really, it's only for pixel peepers. You're really, most of the time you're not going to tell the difference, and you're dang sure not going to tell the difference on social media.
Yeah.
It's between the two, you're not going to know.
yeah.
But if you're a pixel peeper and you're looking for that really fine detail, there is a difference, but not that
well,
great.
I think
Um,
if you want to pick an argument, you can pick an argument. Playing the scientist, and you could pick an argument.
yeah,
You do a print. A lot of these problems, you do a print, and all those ink droplets blend together. All those problems, a lot of those problems go away if you make a print. They don't
So
go away when you're zoomed in at 400% on your
Yeah.
computer.
Very
You
so
know,
true.
so
so
let me throw in the noise factor too, because we all talk about how every camera handles noise, and everybody's initially was all about, well, the Z7 doesn't handle noise like the D850. Well, they're the same size sensor. I mean, so are we talking about now where there is, all right, Dave, are we talking about now where we're using artificial intelligence for noise reduction in camera? I mean, physics are physics, and everybody will say, well, if I had a 12 megapixel camera, it's going to be so much better because of the photo sites being so much larger, blah, blah, blah. That's the physics side of it. When you go to 45 megapixel or 61 megapixel, the photo sites drop to nothing. So I guess what I'm asking is, are we going to be satisfied? Everybody talks about noise, and are we going to be satisfied with, because you can't make more light go into the sensor, into the photo sites. It is what it is. You have to deal with the consequences of a smaller photo site and light gathering. So is AI going to be the process that we're going to lean heavily on? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there for a conversation piece too. Um,
well, like I said, I mean, it's something that those that it'll all these things turn into talking points when when the marketing department of one camera brand wants to say that they do something better than the other guy, even though you can't tell the difference when you print it out. But you got to have something to argue about. You have to have something that where you could say, well, we handle it better than the other guy, or we don't have that problem with our camera. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's
You know,
like I'd have to have the stuff in my hands. I'd have to do my own
yeah.
testing. I'd print out the same images, and I'd make up my own mind. I mean, because it's just
That's
getting
a
crazy out there.
That's a really good point, Jeffrey, because think about what an image goes through for us to be able to put it on the internet so you can download it to your phone. Those images get destroyed. If you put them on
oh
any
yeah,
social media
yeah,
platform, they get wrecked.
yeah.
So having it in your hand physically, like that's why I just don't put a lot of stock in everything of what people say a camera can do. I want to know what I can make it do. um, you know, and that's what matters to me. And I think that's why I shot the same cameras for so long, is I knew what I could make those cameras do, and I would rent the new ones, and nothing ever spoke to me or fit or I felt happy with, the justification of buying a new camera until the mirrorless thing happened. Um, And I just that to me, because I could sit here and go through all Nikon sends emails, and you get these emails, you see these amazing images, but they're still completely, if you blow them up real big, they're destroyed just from being able to load them into your computer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's a good point, Long Rider, talking about what lenses were. And Nikon did the same thing when the D800 came out. They listed lenses that would perform better
Yeah.
with the D800. Some lenses wouldn't perform well
Yeah.
with that resolution. So that's a good point. We talked about noise. We talked about diffraction, which I don't really understand. I just bring it up for a discussion point. And deep learning. So this is another term that's out there now. Deep learning tech means nothing. Well, there are some that think it does, and that's been a big discussion recently. Amar's talked a lot about Canon and deep learning. What is deep learning? And he's explained it to me as far as Canon is concerned, is the camera is actually learning while you're shooting. It's looking for trends or something. I may have that completely wrong. I don't
It's
know.
learning how to replace its operator.
Well, so that's why I brought up, what are you going to resist and what are you going to accept? We're in that point where technology, we have to overcome physics, and maybe the only way to overcome physics is through AI.
Well, the AI is what has allowed you to have eye tracking autofocus and subject detection autofocus in the Z9 and other cameras. I mean, that's all AI. So
I have a good example. Of this, guys. So, real quick. So, Amar and I are sitting on the bank of the river. I had the Z9 200 to 600. Amar has the R7 with I think it's a 100 to 500. And there is an eagle that big with the naked eye, and he's all the way over on the other side of the river. So something with that R7 and its AI, it knows what that bird shape is somehow. And when you looked at that bird, it picked it up the shape, and it put a box on it. Now, when I did my Z9, I could put the box on the bird, but it would never say it was in focus. But it doesn't mean it's not in focus. Now that's the same thing with the Canon. It found the object, but it still doesn't mean it was in perfect focus. And when you're that far out, I don't think there's a camera out there that could handheld something that microscopic all the way out there. So AI is good and bad depending on the circumstance.
Yeah.
All right.
Mossman, that's an interesting point that Mossman just made.
Yeah,
I think we're misusing the word learning.
I agree with
That's where
Mossman.
I'm heading. That's where
I
was
agree
heading.
with Mossman. Yeah, I
Learning
don't
is
think
what's-
there's a camera out there that's learning and rewriting in right there and right then and there.
I would actually be scared if there was.
I was
Not
just
to
gonna
tell
say,
you.
that would truly be
That's almost
artificial
scary.
You have to
intelligence.
tell the
at that
camera
point.
this is a
It's not.
torso, and then it's got a head on. You
Y'all,
tell the camera that logic.
I grew up in the age of Terminator and RoboCop. Okay, don't tell me my camera's sitting here learning things and writing it down.
Right now, it's only as accurate as what the algorithms are that are created by human beings.
Humans tell computers.
I'm reading an article about Canon's deep learning right now, and it says it's a pre-assembly algorithm that enables the camera to essentially teach itself quicker, but it has to be manually programmed by human engineers and then uploaded into the camera.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think
like
that says it right there. I don't think it's
Like
doing
that's
it
what
on
they
the fly.
call a firmware
Wow.
update. That's what
It's
they
not
call
doing
a
it on the
firmware
fly.
update. No, not on the fly. No.
The learning part is what's so misleading. You assume that it's like a cyborg that just goes out there, and as it
That
continues,
would be AI. If
Yeah.
the
Their
camera had true
definition
AI,
of deep learning, then a firmware update is what that really is, and that means
Yeah,
all of
that's
our
all it is.
Nikons have deep learning.
Yeah.
well,
All
whatever
right.
they did with the last firmware of the Nikon, you can tell that it definitely does a lot more with the focus system trying to figure out what it is focusing on versus the previous firmware update. I'd have noticed that. There's been a lot of people complaining about it, but they don't understand what it's trying to do.
I've
Yeah,
seen
and
That's
I mean,
exactly what it's trying to
it,
do. Is you'll see a bunch of boxes. If it's not 100% sure, you'll see a bunch of boxes real quick, and then all of a sudden it'll lock, and that's what it's doing.
yep. I've noticed birds in flight when objects, wires, trees, when you're tracking right to left, left to right, it's sticking, it's holding better. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard. I don't like the big, huge focus mode. I like the large box. So that's just the way you shoot. But
yeah,
Hey,
it's
and I'm not bashing anything on Canon. I
no,
still think Canon's autofocus system is better than Nikon's after shooting I mean, and I haven't shot anything except for the R5, you know, Canon wise. I haven't shot the R7 or anything like that, but the R5 was extremely good, and I still think it's better than Nikon's. I still have issues with Nikon's autofocus
yeah,
system when I'm out in the field.
but they better but different. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
there's a difference there, right?
Maybe better is not the best word for that. It's different, and it latches on differently to certain subjects. I don't know, but my experience with it was
Yeah.
really good with the R5.
all I know is if I'm looking through my camera and all of a sudden legs pop out of the body, I know I'm in a Transformer movie getting the heck out of Dodge.
That's what I'm saying.
this is a good discussion because it's nice to try to not bring it to a close, but answer a lot of questions that everybody has, and a lot of people like me are probably saying things that are absolutely incorrect, and it's good to flesh it out and talk about it. And in one of the forums, I saw a photo, and going back to autofocus, and he was talking about, look how great this autofocus is. I'm not even going to mention what the camera was because that just starts a battle. But I'll ask you. He says it's so wonderful having autofocus that works so good, even with a busy background. But he was shooting with a long lens that was butter in the background. Is that busy background?
At that point,
Not if it's blowing it out.
to me, a busy background is you're shooting a small bird and it's in the brush.
Yeah.
And twigs are all around its head. That's a busy background.
A smaller aperture where it's not blowing the background out. Now, I would agree with that, but evidently everybody there agreed that, yeah, man, even with the blurry background, you could tell it was trees and everything in the background,
Yeah.
but it was blurred to the point that there's no hard edges, no anything for contrast detector or anything to jump on top of. So is that a fair representation of shooting with a busy background is what I'm asking, I guess.
Well, if you're shooting small birds, I don't care if you have an f2.8 or an f4. If you're shooting small birds in a brushy situation, that's not going to blur all that stuff out. You're going to have a busy background, and it can struggle at times, especially knots on trees. It'll lock onto them like they're an eye. Another place where Nikon struggles a little bit on their focus is if you're laying down kind of eye level on water and shooting birds, if there's shimmers and waves in the water, it'll occasionally jump down to those shimmers and waves when you're clearly on the bird.
Yeah, it'll jump to the reflection sometimes.
Yeah, and there's really no reason it should do that. So they have some more tweaking to do to it. They need to, because it shouldn't do that.
Sorry, guys. All right.
There's going to be continual tweaks to that system, as there should be. And I think one reason we're seeing all the tweaks to that system is because obviously when they come out with when they want to flow the technology down, they want to have the technology as good as it can be. So that's one reason we're getting all these free firmware upgrades, is because they want to get all those things ironed out, get it to where it's as perfect as it can be, and then you flow it down into whether it be a Z8 or a Z6II or Z7, Z63,
well,
Z3, whatever.
You can bet that before a new Z8 comes out, there'll be a firmware update for the Z9.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to stop this part of not this part. What I'm getting at is yeah, we all know about everybody's got to learn their camera, whatever, but we're not going to get anywhere in discussing new cameras by holding anybody back by saying just learn your camera. So, not picking on you here, Arthur. The point is that let's look at it as any of these conversations we're having about whether it's AI, deep learning, diffraction, megapixels, and everything else. It doesn't matter whether anybody can use their camera they have already or not. We're going to get these cameras here in the future. They're coming down. They're coming to us, and that's the conversation we need to have. Not whether anybody can use it or whatever, because there are going to be people that are going to spend their time and learn the camera, the system, and everything else. We're going to get these cameras, and this is the information that camera manufacturers need. They need feedback from us, even if it's in the form of questions. Which is why I always say to everybody in the audience, drop your comments in the comment section after this goes to video, because nobody's going to sit and read the chat list.
And they have no idea what they're missing.
Well, that is so true. That is so true.
Well, there have been
Folks,
some
you are
cases
missing
of seizures.
You're missing half the show.
But if we can keep the conversation to what we expect the camera will be or what this means or whatever, I think we're better off. And it's easy to get off track with, well, people don't know how to use what they have now. True. That's a Captain Obvious statement. What I want to get, or what I want from this is, what do you think this is? What do you think this does? Or what does it do? Or where's it going next? When I, brought up all these different topics. Does that make sense?
No, that makes
No?
perfect sense.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm always too, like I said, I've been doing this for 14 years, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something. And I'm not going to sit here and say I've been shooting on the Z6 for 2 years, and I'll guarantee you it does things that I have no idea about, because I turn most of those things off, because I'm like, no, camera, I want to make. I'm the captain.
Yeah, well, that's true with everybody. You're not even the Z9. I don't use every feature the thing has and every different configuration. I've got it locked into what I'm used to and what I like, and that's what you're going to use, and that's what you're going to learn. If you want to go down and start exploring more, that's that's up to you. But
I do sometimes, but then I always end up back. Like it's almost like I have the house set up the way I want it, if that makes sense. Like I've got everything. Sure. So I know where everything's at, and just I can easily maneuver.
Yeah.
Well, which brings me back to one of my favorite things about Nikon is those programmable buttons. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody camera has that or not, but that's just one feature I really here lately have started to really enjoy.
Hey, Arthur, that wasn't aimed at you, just so you know. It's aimed at, everybody that's in the discussion, so that, it's just hard to pick the fun out of or I don't know. It's a million people on forums who bought the latest and greatest. Yeah. So that's just another rabbit hole that we can get stuck in, rather than talking about what is this tech that we're trying to understand or whatever.
Well, because, he continued his statement with another comment right after that, and it says, and then couldn't use it, so they complained about it. And that's true. There is a lot of that out there.
There is.
Talk to that too. And I had a person walk up to me in the real world that has a building with their name on it that says photographer. Okay. And they walked up to me on the street and said, one day when you've got time, could you show me how to use this M spot? Because I use the green spot, and I'd really like to know how to use the M spot.
Here comes the G-spot comments.
I was like, oh, Jesus. I'm like...
You think I don't follow along?
I'm
beat everybody to it.
Well,
that's crazy.
I'm just going to mute my mic. Yeah, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to head to the little boys' room. Carry on, man. Good conversation. We got 46 viewers in here, and I hope they're enjoying it as well. For those of you that are in there viewing, consider subscribing to my meager little channel, where you can join in this chat that goes everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. It's magic. But a lot of great experience in here, and we would love for you, seriously, to share your experience and what you think everything. Everybody has a voice, as you may have noticed already. So, yeah, for those that are enjoying it, please drop a like. It motivates me, and and this whole blurb I just gave you about subscriptions and likes is going to make my wife happy because I don't do it often. Thank you. I'll be right back, guys. Carry on.
The way I look at it, we're a lot like NASCAR. We go around in circles all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But on the Z9, like Dale, you were saying, you're never going to use every single function. And
No.
just for an example, when I did my night shoot that I did, for the heck of it, I said, oh, well, let me try this starlight mode. Well, I found out very quickly that starlight mode means what it says. You have to be in pitch black, otherwise you don't like how it looks when you're looking through the viewfinder. When you
Yeah.
if you have which you would have during normal night photography, street photography, you got street lights, you got building lights, you got stuff like that. It's too well lit up to use the starlight mode. So to me, yeah, that's more strictly probably an astrophotography thing. You're up in a mountain, you're looking at the stars. Then you would use that. So I mean, that's a mode I don't shoot that genre. So that's a mode I'll probably never
Yeah.
ever use. But that's, you like you said, I would say there's probably at least 25% of stuff that's on any camera that because of what you shoot, you're never going to use it.
Well,
And it doesn't,
like mine, it never leaves animal detect because I'm not shooting people. I'm not shooting cars. So I don't leave it on auto because it's a little slower than locking it down in the animal
Yeah.
mode. So I just don't use that stuff. Now, if half the time I forget to turn on people detect if I'm taking pictures of my grandson or something, and I'm wondering why it ain't locking on, then I go, oh yeah, I need to change that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll never use all the features, but I bought it for the features I need, the Z9. I wanted that
Yeah.
high speed, that better focus, that better memory. I mean, all of that. It's just I'm using 10% of the camera, which is probably
Well, and there's
2 or 3 best things of the camera. But that's why you
and
buy
one
it.
of the best features
Professional
of that camera is that there's no moving parts in that camera.
Even better.
That's one of the best features of the Z9.
Agreed.
which
Yeah,
doesn't get
I
talked
wish I
about
could
enough.
do that with flash. That would because I got used to shooting without the shutter
Mm-hmm.
on the Z30, and I really liked it. But I really wish I could use no shutter and use my flashes. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, anything can break. Yeah, that's true,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's still it's still one of the best
integrated
features
circuit
out
could
there.
crap out. You have
You can say that about anything. Anything
Yeah.
will break. That
Yeah.
statement can be made on anything. But
If it was made on a Friday afternoon.
I mean, all component parts that you buy are depending on how much you spend on those parts are all rated in how many parts per million are going to fail.
yeah,
Yep.
So
well, it's just
if someone
anything can break.
spends 50 cents for a part versus 20 cents for a part, well, the difference usually is the failure rate. So no
Well-
one's going to tell you what the failure rate of the parts are that they're putting in their cameras.
Hey, Flint, I've had my Z9 out in some torrential rain, and I can tell you right now that I'm not worried about water with the Z9 at all. You'd have to really seriously screw up to get water in that thing.
So the Z9, it works with the electric shutter with flash, doesn't it? Or is it just particular flashes it works with?
I don't know. I'm not a flash guy, so I don't use flash, so I couldn't answer that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know the Z6. I tried it on my Z6, Z5, Z30, and my triggers don't acknowledge that the camera is going off when I turn it to. Because on the cameras, actually on the Z30, when you turn the shutter off, it actually gives you a no flash signal on the screen.
Yeah, I'm not a flash user, so I don't know.
But
I've
that's
been
probably a firmware update somewhere. The deep learning.
I've been looking at flash units a little bit on B&H, and there are a few brands out there that claim their flashes will work with a Z9 and will use the ITTL compatibility. but I don't own any of them. I have a singular Nikon flash, and the Nikon flashes are not a problem, but supposedly the Godoxes and a few other brands have a model or a few models that supposedly will work with the ITTL of the Nikon, but I don't own them and I haven't tried them, so that's where that's where it is with me. Other than what they're saying it'll do, I don't have one to try out. So
Yeah, I haven't
Okay,
had
that's
problems.
interesting, Brian. I'd like to know how that worked.
I use my old SB 600 on my Z9, and it works fine. Is there something I'm missing?
I
Well,
don't use Nikon branded flashes.
Yes.
the third
I'm
party
just
flash
I'm getting in
manufacturer.
on the tail end of this, but yes, high speed sync will not work with my off brand
Off brand.
non Nikon flashes that are old. And I have no way to update my Flashpoint or Godox flashes because I own a Mac computer and Godox just is anti Mac, I guess. I don't know, or anti Apple.
Well,
But
I
high
didn't know
speed
we could
sync does
update
not
our
work.
Godox lights, Chuck. So,
Y-
and when I
Yeah.
come to Nashville, I'll bring my PC laptop with me, and we'll do some updates.
All right. All the new
Hey,
flashes, I believe, are working with and triggers are working in high speed sync now. The new ones that are out.
Yeah,
I don't know how
I've
new
not
or
had any
whatever.
problem with high speed sync, but I couldn't get my electronic shutter to work with them.
hey, Long Rider, I do have a better beamer. I used to shoot flash a
Thanks,
few
man.
years ago with a better beamer in the backyard. It is great. I got a lot of hummingbird shots that I've taken with a better beamer.
Speaking of lights, if anybody's looking to spend some money on some lights and save some money, that Stella lighting system is on sale for a big discount on Adorama.
Stella,
Yeah,
Stella.
they work, Zach, but in manual only. They won't work in high speed sync. But my lights are 3-4 years old, so I understand that there may have been updates or whatever. They've updated the newer models. So if you're buying newer models, I don't think you have any problem with it. There are a lot of lights that are on sale too. Speaking of Black Friday deals, man, you got to dig, folks. And I try to bring up some of these, but a lot of deals on lighting out there right now, especially in the Godox department or Flashpoint. If you're shopping on Adorama, same thing. So,
A lot of LED light panels on sale as
yep,
well.
yep.
Yeah, us birders don't have that lighting issue, as in flashes and stuff.
Count yourself lucky. Of course, we don't have $15,000 lens problems. So.
Neither do we, but
Well,
some people
well,
do.
well, you're not shooting at 1/5000th of a second or whatever.
I don't have to sneak up on my subjects.
Yeah.
I'll check that out, Zach. I'll check it out, man.
But that 120 FPS, that hummingbirds, wow! You want to chew up a memory card, but it's amazing. And just, even when it's remote, I mean, you don't even know it's going. It just
Yeah.
That's so cool.
you spend the whole afternoon deleting good pictures.
Yeah, for Hero, hit the wrong one. Sorry. For us shooting the Z9, that's all we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flint, you just have to be careful with that type of stuff. You have to just let your camera gear and all that acclimate. I've been shooting and I've taken mine from the cold AC inside to the hot, humid air for years. Never have had any issues.
On
And I shot
Mozman's
weddings
comment,
that were like that because living in Tennessee, it's hot and humid down here all the time. I would have a set of gear stashed in a warm location and the gear that I'm shooting in the venue, and we'd
Yeah.
literally just change gear as we moved.
Yeah.
Because I
on
just,
Mozman's comment about taking it out in the rain, I agree 100%. I'm not buying a camera that's oh shoot, fair weather only
Yeah.
camera.
No,
You know, and I've taken mine out in the pouring rain and not exposed it intentionally, but been caught in pouring rain, and I still had no problem. So I'm a believer in that. I'm going to use it. Weather sealing is fine. And any cameras that I've owned, and I've taken them all out, snow, rain, whatever.
yep.
Yeah, what I try to do, and more in the summer. I mean, if it's really cold in the winter, you're not going to drive with your windows down in your car. But in the summertime, I'll try to keep if
Thanks,
I have
Mom.
the air conditioning on in the car, I'll try to have it within a few degrees of what it is outside, so that I don't get any
Yeah.
condensation when I take my camera out.
I'll tell you another thing you got to watch for, and this happened to me, was it was cold outside. I think I was shooting a 500 f4, but I was taking pics. I jumped out of the car, was taking pics of a bird, could not figure out why it was coming out blurry. And come to find out, and it was kind of weird because right after I experienced this, Steve Perry released a video on it where the lens hood was actually creating like its own little, I don't know what you want to call it, air currents or something around it, and was causing it to blur out. I took the lens hood off and it cleared it right up until
Wow.
the lens hood actually had to cool down and get to the same temp as the outside.
So it
But
was
if you took it
radiating.
off,
Yeah.
yeah, it was,
Heat, kind
yeah.
of like a car that's turned on.
Wow.
yeah.
Off the hood
And
of
this
a
happened
car.
to me like right when I very first got the Z9. And I was like, what the heck's wrong with this camera? Didn't even dawn on me that the lens hood could cause this issue.
I
But
never would have thought of that.
yeah, I wouldn't have either. But right after I experienced that, Steve Perry released a video talking about the same exact thing. It was crazy.
See, I learned something again.
Yeah.
I can't even casually come to this channel without learning something.
If you keep saying you're learning on this channel, Chuck's gonna start charging you a fee every time.
Well, it's not deep learning. I'll forget in a week.
And it happens more than you think. I went out this morning and was shooting some red tails and red shouldered hawks out, and it happened to me this morning. So I knew this time I knew. So I just took my lens hood off until it finally cooled down, and it instantly
Awesome.
had sharp
I never would have
photos.
thought of that.
Yeah.
Does anybody know the power on the B10, the Profoto B10? I don't know. And Fell's asking. That's a good question.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I can Google it.
I'll look it up right now. I'll try to. Let's see.
Flintlock made this comment too. Yeah, that's why they have warmers for hoods.
500 watts per second on the B10.
Okay.
Yeah, but
10
in this
is
case,
no B10's 250 watt seconds.
Okay.
250 watt seconds. Now
Oh wow, it is.
And he wants to know compared to what, the AD 600?
AD 600 is 600 watts, is it not?
Well, now there's advertised and there's actual.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't answer, who's tested it or whatever. What's the guy that did all the Godox
Marcus
stuff?
Pix.
No, not him.
Yeah, 600 is the
I love that guy.
No.
I watch him too, Huff. That guy cracks me up.
I love him,
Yeah.
man. I made my wife watch his little documentary about himself.
Yeah.
I
He's
was
a
like, look
crack
at this
up.
guy.
Okay,
He's
Chuck,
good.
I'm at time here, Chuck. I'm gonna have to drop off.
All right, man.
I love getting on live with you guys. This is awesome. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And really
Thank
good,
you very much, buddy,
Yeah.
and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
You bet, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
as they
take care.
say, gobble gobble.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Keep that hat, man. I expect to see it anytime you're on up till Christmas.
Sounds good. All right,
See you
take
later.
care.
All right.
Take care.
The name of the channel is Sharpen Now, and the guy has worked with all the Godox lights there are and everything else, and he's done a good job in comparing them to Profoto, Westcott, and whatever. And that would be a good channel to check out, Sharpen. I can't remember his name right now or what it was called, but he's done some extensive reviews and experimenting with lights side by side to look at what's actual and what's advertised.
But obviously, the 600 is a lot more powerful than the 8400.
Yeah. And I think that his findings showed that we got a echo going somewhere. Somebody's got something in the background. Is it me? Can't be. No.
Yeah, I only have one computer and I only have Restream on, so it ain't me.
Not
Okay,
me. I don't
I
hear it.
man,
I was muted, so I'm not sure where it's coming, but I can hear it in my earbuds, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Huh, I don't hear it at all. That's weird.
all right.
I don't hear.
Let me approve some folks that have joined Nikon Amateurs Group. Thank you very much, and feel free to share all the photos you want there. All right, I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't hear it now, so that's
No,
good.
it comes and goes. It's really strange.
All right.
Is that,
It's a Restream option.
hey, Chuck, is that a group you started, Nikon Amateurs Group?
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't have named it that, but this has been a while ago because
nice.
I don't care what you shoot. By all means, share your photos.
Cool. I
Again.
just joined it. I just hit
All right.
the join button.
All right. Yeah, the Profoto B10 Plus is 500 watt, is what Brian is saying. Okay. And again, anybody want to be a admin on this Facebook group? Let me know. I will make that happen so that you can go in and approve people that join or whatever. I know that's what everybody wants is more responsibility, right?
You can set me up as one
Yeah,
if you
I was
want,
about to
Chuck.
say I'll do that for you too, Chuck.
I,
'Cause
right.
I'm on
I
there
run a
all the time.
Facebook group as well called Kansas Bird Photography Group with a
Okay.
couple other guys.
Well,
I help
I'll
out
have,
with She Wade's OnlyFans because I don't have a lot to do. So
I'm sure you're busy with that one, man.
stocking
Uh,
stuffers are
Fine.
going good this year.
five subscribers out in Kansas,
you're welcome, Phil, and thanks for the question, man. There's so much information here in the audience, and with these jokers up here, they're much smarter than I am. All
Hey,
right.
did you guys look at that Loop Deck photo video editing console at all on B&H?
No, I have not.
No, I
It
haven't.
basically puts all the controls, all the sliders, and everything that you'd be going to with your mouse or whatever in Lightroom or in Photoshop. It has knob adjustments for. It's a totally different keyboard that you plug in, and it's strictly for photo editing. It looks kind of neat. It's called Loop Deck, Loupedec, and it's on sale for $229 and $50 off.
That.
If anybody really does heavy editing, they may want to look into that. I did read about it. It looked like it was pretty neat.
Oh,
I have to find some videos on this because that looks really cool. It's like you can sit there and pretend to DJ while you edit photos.
There you go, Chuck. I put my first post in your group there.
all right. Thank you, man.
Oh, that was you. I'm sorry, I blocked that. No,
Hey, there is a good post in there if you guys want to check it out. Oh shoot, Terry Breedlove, his post about taking the photo. He does a lot for you guys that like film and like black and white and like medium format and things like that. He's a guy to check out, Terry Breedlove. He posts a lot on Facebook. I don't know if Terry has a YouTube channel. I don't think that he does. But anyway, he posts in the group. He'll be posting in the group quite a bit. But he's got a photo of a lady that, middle aged. He took the photo. It's a great story to read. I don't know if he's got the whole story in there with his photo, but it really kind of inspired me. I hadn't thought of this, and not to take away from his post, but he took a picture of a middle-aged lady and she asked why he took it. He explains and she says, "Thank you." And it has a lot to do with that. And I did not know this. And I'm going to throw this at my stepdaughter for her channel. Middle-aged women feel like, or a lot of them feel like they're excluded from being seen anymore. You're not the raving young beauty and everything else. So anyway, it's a good story. It's worth reading and it's kind of inspiring. I hope he put the whole story behind the photo. Very interesting. But again, black and white film, medium format. He shoots constantly. He's constantly shooting film. So you guys may want to
And
check it out.
notice how Chuck calls people that does that you guys. We know who you guys are.
Yeah.
You
That's
guys.
yeah, and that's that's me being old, and I'm not becoming part of the woke crowd. So there's still, I still say what I say. All right, pro photos are brighter or something, Phil. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that, and I noticed you talked about modeling lights earlier. Modeling lights are worthless for me because I'm shooting in an atmosphere or a studio that's pretty well lit typically, and modeling lights don't do me a lot of good. I don't see that well anymore anyway. So I don't know how you guys feel about modeling lights. And if you're shooting the battery strobes now, man, I know the modeling lights will eat up your batteries too. So that's just something else to remember.
I do know on
Uh,
the AD 200, I do like the feature where I could change the head out and use that speed light Fresnel head if I'm in such a dark situation. And I've had a couple photo shoots where I'm in such a dark situation, I have trouble with focusing. I could switch that head out and turn that modeling lamp on. It uses like hardly any battery at all in the AD 200, but at least use it to get focus with.
okay. All right.
That was a bonus for me that I
But
liked, and but I mean
I watch a lot of YouTubers that are
it's
using
rare.
lights, and they're doing live streams with lights, doing live photo shoots and everything, and
Yeah.
they'll talk about, looking at how the light's falling on the model, and it just isn't enough for me to be able to say, okay, yeah, I can use the modeling light to get, you know, I'm
Yeah,
just a move
because
it, I'm a move it and shoot it again kind of guy.
yeah, I'm kind of that way too because the way that modeling lamps fall in, it's not gauged to the exact brightness of what your flash is going to be, so you're not going to get the exact fall off and everything. So it's great to kind of get an idea, but chances are you're still going to shoot it and move it.
Yeah.
So
And I don't see that as being such a big deal either.
nah.
Yeah, if I had She Wade, the She Wade coming to visit or she wanted headshots, then I would definitely have everything pre-shot, set up, and ready to go.
Yeah, because her
Because
time is
somebody
money.
absolutely, absolutely.
Talk about somebody that's middle aged and not feeling so good about themselves. She Wade might have that problem. I don't know.
Mozman's talking about the 8200 modeling light. He uses it, set up reflectors, flags. Yeah, I just can't see it, Moz. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it doesn't work for me. But speaking of the 8200, how great is that flash? I mean, it came out, it made a big hit, and it still sells like crazy because it's so versatile. Anyway, I didn't mean to get on a
I've
kick
got
for.
2 of them so far, and I like them.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're great.
they're they're a little heavy, but when you that con versus all the pros, it just doesn't matter because I don't have to drag my wires and everything. Because when I was going out on shoots on location, I was taking that Vagabond battery pack and the wires and my Alien Bees studio lights, and I'm dragging those things around on cheetah stands. And
Hey, you know what? You just brought up a good point too. For those that aren't aware of the Vagabond inverters that you can buy, I guess well, he doesn't. I know he's passed away, but the company
right,
still sells those. Man, those things are so handy for so many things,
till
even
you drop
beyond
it.
photography.
I
I
dropped
wouldn't know
mine, and
about.
I'm so sad.
Oh man, yeah, man.
I'm gonna try to super glue it back together because that is one of the best little pieces of gear you'll spend money on.
I
Thanks,
got
Nican. Good to see you in here, buddy. In between your calls, or I don't know what time it is there. I'd hope you're finished with your Zoom calls for work and everything else. But good to see you in here. And sorry I hadn't answered you right away, but been kind of crazy. However, Thanksgiving's tomorrow, and I plan to have a few days to just relax for a change. No more loading dumpsters or fixing sewage systems and everything else. So there
I
you
still
go.
have a water pipe to fix.
I just want to answer Greg Wilson's question. He says, Jeff, you don't use it. I'm assuming that's in response to that loop deck. I don't know. I do not use the loop deck. Thinking
No,
about it
somebody
though.
mentioned they had one, and I think it was Martin
Yeah.
said that he's got one, and it's really cool. I'm going to have to check some videos out on that because it looks really neat.
But I got a question for you, AD 200 users though. Do you ever use the bare bulb flash head?
It's what's in it
Every,
right now, as a matter of
every
fact.
day. Yeah, I love it
So
because it fills the particular
360.
dishes and stuff that I use. I use the beauty dish and the actually it's the first flash I've used that I didn't throw the beauty dish.
Yeah. So
I figured that might be what you guys would use more doing portraits than the speed light part of it. You'd be using the bare bulb head.
yeah,
So far.
I think it works better with soft boxes and other modifiers.
Yeah.
But the Fresnel head on it's great too. And
Yeah, I
everybody's
like
been,
having both options. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like having
yeah,
two flashes for the price of one, honestly. Because the Fresnel head's got that modeling lamp if you need it. And if you need to, like, really squeeze every bit of light out of it that it'll produce, and you're not too worried about specularity or anything like that, yeah, that Fresnel head really concentrates all the light. And I also like the fact that replacement bulbs are like $29. The replacement parts are not super expensive.
yeah. And it's just a versatile little light to have that has a lot of power to it, considering its size and everything. It can be used so many different ways. I just think that's one of those things you tuck in your bag. You may not use it every day. Maybe you do, but it's nice to have rather than a full on, full bore strobe light. A
And
lot of
this
times.
little thing right here that'll fit onto the bare bulb, I am so surprised at the light spread this thing will put out. As small as it is, and I love it because it won't grab the wind so bad when you're outside. But it's so small. It's like, oh, it's going to make the light source really small, and I I love this thing. I was really surprised.
Yeah,
So
that's
you know
another
they
good.
got it on sale right now, $80 off, $269 at B&H.
Yeah,
Black
it's a good
Friday,
deal. Good deal.
$269.
It's even cheaper right now. I think at Arama. I was just looking at it. And there's a pro version and a not pro version. I have
Well,
one of each,
for
and
the
I'll be
pro
honest with you,
version,
I
yeah, the
can't
pro
tell the
version's
difference.
$80 off, $269.
The
I don't know.
Flashpoint, which is the same as the Godox, is $229 right now at Arama.
Miles.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna read off 50 products, Maz man. By the time we're done, you're gonna be so poor.
Miles, man, I'm right there with you, dude. I've got two of them, and I want a third one so bad.
Hey, Phil, stick with your Z62, man.
Yeah.
Wait, because there's
Yeah.
something's going to happen in the first quarter. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. If it doesn't, then you guys probably want to unsubscribe because it's going to be rant central.
Well, no, there won't be any more show. There won't
Wait.
be anything to talk about.
Jeffrey,
Every
where's
li-
our sign? How many days has it been since there's been a rant on this channel?
if nothing happens in the first quarter, you can bet it's going to be 3 hours of solid nonstop ranting from me. The petulant child will return, no doubt
Oh,
about it.
Martin just answered a question for me that I wanted to, that I asked in my mind, and it went through the ether, and Martin just answered it. I was very curious to how the loop deck did with sensitive adjustments with editing, and now I'm super. This channel is going to cost me so much
One
money.
thing we do is on this channel, we make you spend money, baby. We make you spend money.
Oh man.
Oh,
Guess I shouldn't have brought it up. There's going to be probably half dozen people that are going to be out a few $100.
oh man! But what if it
You're-
works?
Apparently, it works very well. But
Yeah. That's when I actually get excited when someone that actually uses something comes forward with something and they're like, "No, I actually use this in my work, and and this is what it does, and it's awesome. I mean, I love that so much more. I mean, when you watch these reviews, it's so hard to watch reviews, and I know that I gave a video on my 8200s, and I didn't really want to call it a review because that word feels, I don't know, thrown around a bit, I guess, but I just honest opinion, I guess you'd say, is really, it's hard to find, and when you're throwing around hundreds of dollars, I mean, to me, that's that's a lot.
Oh, I always want to hear from somebody that actually has used something.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I don't really, I don't like, I don't sit there and promote a certain product unless I've personally used it.
Well, it's nice to hear from somebody that's used it and isn't an
Right.
influencer, isn't an ambassador, isn't
Right.
advertising for them. That's where you really understand whether this thing or things or whatever work or not.
Yeah, you didn't get it for free to talk good things about it.
Yeah.
Adorama has got the 25-inch Octobox kit with the S bracket and the 8200 Pro for $318.
That's a on the go portrait kit or headshot.
that
I'll say
really
headshot.
is.
25 inches might be a bit short for, half body or whatever, although it could work.
It's the Easy Glow lock, and I've got one of those, and I actually really like that because it has a disc in the center of it, so it could sort of function like a beauty dish and an Octobox. And since that disc is in the way, if I need to get every bit of light out of that 8200, I could put that Fresnel head on there because it's still going to block the path of the, and There's a lot of good deals out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm curious, has anybody noticed Cyber Monday talk anywhere? I feel like I haven't seen any talk about Cyber Monday.
I haven't seen anything really.
Yeah.
I've only seen it mentioned as in some of the Black Friday deals will extend into Cyber Monday, but I haven't seen anything about Cyber Monday deals.
Right. That's what I'm super curious about, because trending sales in the recent years, Cyber Monday seemed to be the better deals from what I've been looking back on.
I always wait till Cyber Monday because they always seem to extend the Black Friday deals into Cyber Monday anyway.
Yeah.
And typically there's better deals on Cyber Monday on certain things. So I always wait.
Checking to see if anybody else has sent any. Okay. Just checking the emails.
Okay.
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 Yeah, probably
I was looking at Nick Can's response there. The loop deck, when it came out, didn't work with Photo Mechanics, so he skipped it. But it worked really good. I use all Adobe products, so I'm super curious about this thing.
Whoa, Nikan. Never heard of Cyber Monday or Black Friday. Wow.
Okay, wait. Nikan, where are you from?
Ireland is a bit shielded.
Okay.
Man. We all wait for Black Friday every year, hoping we're going to get the items we want at a super reduced price. And often there are great deals out here on Black Friday.
Somebody did make a really good point the other day. They said it's only a deal if you need it. And I unsubscribed from their channel, but that's a good point.
Good. Absolutely. Turn them haters away. So there you go. If you see a deal, buy it. And Maz, I'm buying, man. I'm buying storage, and I'm curious to see what you were talking about earlier. I am buying.
Yeah, there were some standalone high capacity external drives. I mean, that were really cheap, but they weren't, RAID systems. They were just individual drives, but there were some crazy prices on some high terabyte drives.
I hit the wrong one. It jumped too quick. Can we expect even lower prices on Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Yeah, I mean, a lot of vendors wait for Black Friday, believe it or not. This is the one time a year, this is the only time of the year, for some companies that they'll discount anything really.
Yeah.
This year they should just call it 2019 because I feel like with inflation, it's we're just buying things at 2019 prices.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's a good point. Buy a lot of things you don't need. Man. Can we expect even lower prices on Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Yeah, I think we talked about that, didn't we? Ireland, here we go. Ireland, here we don't have to have that, but you're correct. The only buy if you need it or helps your photography. No, no, come on, Nican. No, 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 no. If
I
you
was like, oh
want it,
man.
buy it. If you want it, buy it.
That's right.
Now, if you want to take good advice, then only buy it if you absolutely need it.
Yeah.
If you've got money in your pocket to spend and you want it, then get it.
That's why Chuck has all these big bins out in his yard right now.
We are not financial advisors.
Exactly. I expect adults to be able to manage their finances themselves, and I'm not going to insult them with only buy it if you can afford it. I think you can do that yourself. Try to buy SSD. Yeah. I looked at a few of those too.
Yeah.
SSD external hard drives.
I'm scared of them
But
ever
there are
since I
some
had that
great
one die
deals.
on me.
There are some great deals on those right now, up to 4 terabyte, different brands and whatever.
But you get into where you want 20 or something, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
So Greg Wilson's asking will the loop deck be easy to set up? I'm electronics challenge. You and me both, Greg. You and me both.
Plug it in where your mouse would go and that's it, and probably has some relatively easy software to put on your computer. It's probably ties right into your Lightroom and or Photoshop. It probably is like a plug-in type of thing. It recognizes that you have it, and then everything just works through the keyboard rather than through the sliders.
That's
That's
good question,
cool.
though.
I think it would be something like that. I think it would be pretty seamless. I don't think it would be too complicated.
Hey, Arthur, hate to see you go, man, but thanks for being in here, buddy. Good to see you. Always good to see you.
Have you guys have any of you used Wacom tablet for editing?
Yeah, I did years ago. Yeah,
Years ago.
many years ago.
That's what I use, and it's easier to get the fine when you do, like, if you're doing your own. I mean, Lightroom's pretty good at it now, but for shading in certain areas, and especially in Photoshop, it's really handy.
Mentioning Lightroom, have you guys? I do a lot of portrait work, so I don't know if how this affects you guys as much as maybe it affects me. But this new ability to pull a subject out in Lightroom or pull a background light out in Lightroom, how fast and accurate it is mind blowing.
Yeah,
I mean,
works really
it's a
good
game changer for me. I thought about doing some videos on it just to show, because I can go in now and it recognizes a human. I can say, pick that person and just mask different parts of that person. And it is so accurate.
Yes, sir, it is. The phone line is open. I'm glad you reminded me. Somebody needs to remind me every live stream. Why have it if I can't remember to mention it? Yeah, I use the Wacom tablet. I use I think I got the medium, or no, the small. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it's
I've
one
got
of
the
those
medium.
things. Yeah, once you get used to it, it's fantastic, but you have to stick with it because it is a little, there is a little learning curve on, the
biggest,
disconnect.
Yeah, it's the hand-eye coordination.
Yes.
is what you got to overcome. But I've been editing with a mouse for so long that it really wasn't that big a deal to go to a pen.
I think Chuck would have good hand-eye coordination from putting the M&Ms in his mouth. He's good.
I don't usually have to remove anybody, Mozman, but just selecting to do like select edits just on the face or just on the hair or just on the eyes, just quick selections like that is just because it's just if I have to do removal, I'm going to Photoshop or something
Hey
else other than
guys,
Lightroom for sure.
hey guys, I've got Scott from Sleek Images here. Go ahead,
Oh,
Scott.
cool.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Just I use the Wacom too with what you guys are talking about right now. I hate to go back, but I think for me, I broke the golden code of the Z9. I don't know if you guys remember. I dropped some messages, I don't know, a week ago or so that I was struggling hardcore with trying to get sharp images with that Z9.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So the other day I go out and I'm still struggling. I bought the 100 to 400. I still have my 200 to 500. I'm still struggling. So I come across something that makes absolutely no sense to me, but maybe you guys have seen it. So I'm just curious. I dropped, we spend $6,000 on this stuff because it shoots 20 frames a second and blah, 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 blah. Right.
Right.
So I go out, I'm shooting birds, struggling, cussing, about ready to throw it out the window. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to set it just as if I'm shooting with my D500. So I drop it back to 10 frames a second. And, I stayed up. I think the slowest I shot was 12/50th of a second. Most of the time I was 1600th of a second. Bada boom. Everything, like I couldn't miss a sharp image, right? So I thought that's kind of cool. So I jump up to 12 frames a second and all of a sudden I'm back to images aren't sharp again. So I thought, well, let's experiment with this. So I bump up to 2000 ISO. Now I'm back in the ball game with sharp images. I have never, and maybe you guys have seen this, so educate me, please. I have never seen a camera that when you change shutter frame rates, that you have to up the shutter speed. That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And honest to God, I swear to you guys, I've tried everything. And if I'm shooting, if I'm at 10 frames a second and I go up to 12, like I have to up the shutter speed or else I'm back to not sharp images. Does that make sense?
Okay,
No,
so that it doesn't make sense except for going back again to the D800. That was one of the things that everybody experienced early on with the D800. I don't know if if it applies to what you're going through, but you definitely had to watch slow shutter speed. But at 1600th of a second, and then having to go up to, you say, 2000th if you raise the shutter rate to 12 frames per second, I don't know. Go ahead, David. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, I shoot birds all the time with long lenses, and I shoot them. I can shoot down to 1/250th of a second in 20 frames per second and get sharp images, even that slow a shutter speed.
I can shoot down to 1/250th of a second.
So I don't understand. It shouldn't matter how many frames per second, and it shouldn't. It doesn't affect shutter speed and all that. I don't know what's going on there, but
Well, the only thing I got out of that is if you're shooting at 1600th of a second, if your bird's in motion, depending on what size bird, that isn't going to be fast enough and it's going to be blurry. But there should not be a correlation between frames per second and shutter speed. No. But I would not, I sometimes shoot for creative purposes, intentionally shoot at a slow shutter speed with a bird in flight because I want the eye and the head to be sharp. I want the wings to be blurry, and I do it on purpose. But if you want everything tack sharp, 1600 most of the time is not going to be fast enough.
Well, and that's why I say because I've shot at very slow shutter speeds at 20 frames per second and had sharp images. That there is no correlation between that. I can't explain his particular situation why he's having better luck. But like I said, I can shoot a big 600 lens at 1/250th of a second and hold it. And I shoot handheld on everything,
Could
and I can hold it on a bird and get sharp images, even that slow.
could the IBIS be malfunctioning?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of is maybe he's got an issue with his camera.
I think I would want to take it to
Yeah.
a center and have it looked at. That's
Well,
very
I mean,
interesting.
You could call Nikon tech support on the Nikon USA website and talk to an advisor and tell them what you're doing and tell them what's happening, and they should be able to walk you through something.
I would love to put my hands on
They should be
that
able to
camera.
figure out what it is.
I'd love to put my hands on that camera and just see, what's going on with it.
I actually have contacted Nikon 3 different times, and they've been everywhere from they don't know to one gentleman. He's like, well, maybe you need to clean the contacts. This was when I was shooting strictly with the 200 500. He's like, well, maybe you need to clean the contacts between the, your lens and the adapter and this and that, which I thought that was kind of BS personally, but I do wipe them down every so often, but that made absolutely no sense to me. But
Now, Long Rider
I
has a
have thought about
suggestion to
sending
turn
it in.
IBIS off.
Yeah, Long Rider makes a good comment. You could try turning the IBIS off and seeing what happens. Just turn
just as
from the
one
menu,
more,
turn it off.
just as one more test, maybe.
Yeah, one more thing to try.
How long have you had the camera?
How long have I had? I'm having a little bit of trouble here in the panel. How long have I had the camera?
Yes.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks, give or take.
Oh, does it have the latest firmware in it?
Yeah, unless they've updated here in the last couple of days. It's firmware 3.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, I would love to shoot it and see, and help you out.
Yeah, I just thought that was really weird because like I said, the fastest thing obviously I've had was a D500 at 10 frames a second, and when I finally give up, and I told myself when I was dumbing it down, and to me that dumbing it down when you spend that kind of money for a fast camera, I told myself if I've got to shoot this thing at 10 frames a second to get sharp images like I did, that's the biggest waste of money that I've spent, in a long time. But maybe it's just me, a matter of getting back used to it. But like I said, it just seemed, I did kind of the best controlled test that I could do out here in my front yard.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you something real quick, Scott, and just another test. Are you shooting static birds or static subjects? Or are you following the subjects? I'm just,
Also,
it's just been static, small, small sparrows and cardinals and stuff out here in my pine trees.
Is your focus locked on continuous focus or,
AFS or
AFS or AFC?
AFS. Yeah.
Well, what I ended up, I've tried a couple different things, but what I've kind of settled on right now that seems to be working is I went back, like I said, I set it up just like my D500. I went back to dynamic range, medium, and then I have my back button, focus button programmed to the animal eye detect. So,
but are you in continuous focus?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am in continuous.
Okay, so
AFC. Okay,
I've got a question for you. Can you try this? Maybe set it up on a tripod, lock in on a static object. It doesn't matter what, not necessarily a bird, and try just shooting a subject at 20 frames per second at the different shutter speeds and see it. Because I guess what I'm trying to do here is find out, do you have an issue with maybe your camera and an autofocus issue? And if every frame is tack sharp set up that way, then it should work every other way. But if you see a difference in images, static subject, 20 frames per second at whatever shutter speed, if you see a difference, then there's got to be an issue with the AF in the camera, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to lean towards there's an issue with the camera because, like I said, I have 2 Z9s. I've got them set up identical, and I've never had an issue like that. And I shoot extremely low shutter speeds at times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. I mean,
No.
did you buy it from an online retailer or did you buy it from a store that you could go to? Because if you bought it at a store, you can maybe bring it in there and they can maybe, now that they're on the shelf, quote unquote, they can maybe let you try out another body with a lens, even in a store, and see if it behaves the same way.
I did buy it from a camera store. My local camera store is an hour and a half away from me. And I have talked to them a little bit too, but that is I did not think about doing that. I can set it out this maybe tomorrow. I'll set it out on the tripod and I'll bump it back up to 20 frames a second. I've got a like a little telephone box that's about
Perfect.
70 yards away from my house. I can lock on that and go through, several different shutter speeds and see if that makes a difference.
Because if you have an issue there, then I'm going to guess it's a setting or it's just an issue with the AF in your camera.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like user error. This sounds like something's going on.
Every photo, if you do that, should be as sharp as the one before it and the one after it. But it could be that maybe there is an issue and it's not reacquiring focus for each frame, and that's that's
kind of what it seemed like.
Yeah,
because you should not be experiencing that issue at all.
And this has happened with different lenses.
I think he said it did. With
different lenses.
It's happened. This has happened with my 200 to 500 adapted, and because I thought, well, this lens just isn't going to work, I went out and bought, just because it was kind of in my budget. I went out and bought the 100 to 400 4.5.
Yeah,
and I've had same experience with that.
I can
and I can tell you, I used to shoot the 200 to 500 adapted as well, and never had an issue with that lenses either.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's not the lenses. I'm gonna say there's something wrong with your camera.
Yeah.
Hey Scott, try that. Set it up, static object, shoot 20 frames per second, and move through. You're gonna have to change. What are you gonna have to change here? You're going to have to change something because the different shutter speeds are going to give you, terrible exposure at one end or the other.
Put it on auto ISO.
Just keep it on auto ISO.
But
let ISO creep up or down, whatever it needs to do.
But shoot it from 200th up to, or 160th or whatever. Shoot it, take a burst with jumping around as far as the shutter speed goes, and look at your photos. And if there's differences in each shutter speed, within that batch of photos, then I got to believe that there's something going on with the autofocus, because it should be tack sharp for 20 images. You don't even have to do 20, whatever you want to take. But every image should be tack sharp in that situation.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. It didn't make sense to me that I would have to up shutter speed just because I changed frames per second. But I thought, well, this is my first mirrorless, so maybe this is a thing.
Well, brother,
makes no sense.
Brother, be ready for all of them are tack sharp, and then you pick the camera up and start shooting, and they're not. Then we got
well, and I will admit it. If it's me, I will admit it to me. I'm by no means perfect, but I'm pretty decent with my D500, my D850 with it. So
I understand. I'm just saying that because that would be me, and then I'm out of excuses.
Right. Well,
I'm going to say he's got an issue with his camera. That I think
so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, let us know.
Guys, I appreciate. I appreciate it, and I will.
All right.
Yeah.
By all means.
You guys have a good Thanksgiving, guys.
All right, Scott.
You
Thanks
too.
for
Take care.
in.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what happens with that.
Oh, I'd love to have my hands on that camera and check it out. That'd be great.
I've never heard of anything like this. Very curious. I mean, it's that's just very interesting. It just doesn't sound like user error though. It sounds like something's going on.
Yeah.
I know if it was me, it'd be user error.
Hang on a second, gentlemen. Hang on a second, Joe. I got to get it switched to the Roadcaster. All right, brother. Hang on. Joe Stroud.
What's up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
I got a similar issue with my camera that the other caller had.
Okay.
It focuses fine, but it doesn't look sharp on the screen or in the viewfinder. So when I download the images, they're tack sharp.
Are you using the small viewfinder or the screen on the back of the camera? I know the small viewfinder has the diopter where you can adjust.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, are you using the viewfinder or are you using the screen on the back of the camera when you're reviewing? Okay, both of them.
Both.
Well, okay, so that rules out.
Yeah.
And I know my eyes are getting a little bad as the older I get, but what I'm saying is I'll sit there and I'll keep the same scene 30 times thinking it's not in focus. And when I download it, I got 30 sharp pictures.
Yeah. So and Dave just brought up it's not the diopter then. So that's not an issue.
And I know, like me, I wear glasses for distance, but I also need stuff for close up. And if I'm looking at my back of my screen, sometimes things don't look tack sharp to me, but that's my eyes. I know they are.
Yeah.
It's just because like Huff said, you can't hold it out far enough to get things in sharp focus for your eyes. I don't know how your eyes are, but I have that trouble just looking at mine, and it's strictly just my eyes. It's nothing to do with the camera. So I don't know if that could be an issue with you as well, but I experience that a lot when I look.
But I understand your dilemma there is you want to be able to confirm focus on, the camera before you walk away from the scene. I get that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to rely on, I believe it'll be in focus when I pull the photos up on the computer, but
yeah, I mean, I'm getting the in focus confirmation, in the camera, but then when I'm looking at it, I'm viewing it, I'm like, hey man, it ain't sharp. Am I wobbling or,
What lens are you using as well?
That's any one I use, the 14, 24, 24, 120, 100,
really?
400. Yeah.
Huh.
It's just the camera in general. And I read somewhere where somebody had said, and I can't remember where it was, they said their images didn't look sharp, but when they downloaded it, everything was sharp. I was just wondering if anybody else had that issue.
So Tony's asking, I hate to ask because I'm sure you've done it, but have you zoomed in to look and can you tell a difference then?
Nope.
On camera? Okay.
They still look like they're just out of focus, just a little bit out of focus.
I'm having the same issue, but I know I need to go to the eye doctor, because I finally figured out, and it happened. I feel like it happened overnight. It's like one day I woke up, it's like, oh man, why is that so blurry? And then when I downloaded it on the computer, my laptop screen, everything looks great. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I started taking my glasses out. I'm like, uh-oh.
I actually, most of the time I verify through my viewfinder because you can dial in that diopter. So I verify through the viewfinder with the diopter dialed in to verify sharpness.
Okay, so Tony Day says it could be due to sampling in the camera, the image not being properly or not being presented properly, not probably properly. He made the correction. If you're looking at 50 megapixel on a tiny screen, it may not be sampled properly. So he's saying zoom into pixel level. So Tony, if you zoom into pixel level and it's still that way, suggestions, or is this yet another possibility that, it's something to do with the LCD, the readout on the LCD? I mean, for your particular camera, Joe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Well, since he's experienced with the viewfinder and the screen, that'd be some bad luck to get too bad.
Yeah, and I mean, considering your foes, buddy, I mean, I'm not going to treat you like you're just a brand new adopter to a camera. So I'm sure you've researched everything you can figure out.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know.
I've been shooting for almost 40 years.
So let me ask you a question though, real quick. Do you have your LCD set to the 120 readout, or still at 60?
120.
Okay, so well, there's nothing there then. And Tony's asking if you're saving both RAW and JPEGs. Are they both
I don't
Well,
shoot. I shoot just raw.
okay? You
it
shoot
wouldn't
just
matter. It wouldn't matter anyway because when you hit preview, it's showing you a JPEG
yeah.
of
Yeah.
your image, even if you're in RAW.
Man, I don't know. You could have a camera with a unique thing, a unique issue. I don't. I sure don't know.
Yeah,
That would be my luck.
anybody that has the same body that
Yeah.
you could try their camera.
Yeah, that would be interesting
You
if
know-
you had the opportunity. If you know somebody or shoot with somebody or whatever that has a Z9 or what doesn't even have. Well, yeah, I'd say a Z9.
Yeah,
Make it apples to apples here and shoot
Yeah,
and
I
see if
don't-
it looks the same to you. If he
Okay.
says, yeah, it looks super sharp on the back of camera. Or let me
What
ask
you're
you this.
seeing, I see
Let me
what.
ask you
Okay,
this.
I'm sorry. I just completely
No,
understood what was going on with that.
Hang on just a second, Huff. If you, but I'll
No,
ask
you're
you this.
good.
What do you shoot with other than your Z9?
Nothing. I don't have another digital camera anymore.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to say, if you
Yeah.
had another camera, does it look the same? I hate to
My-
ask that stupid question, but
My Z6 was fine.
okay.
But, I sold it though. But my Z6 was fine.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
since
Go ahead,
you-
Huff.
Well, I was just saying, since you bought the Z9, now obviously can't afford glasses anymore, so that's what.
No, I got right.
But
Yeah.
no,
I
on
got
the previews in the diopter and on the back of the camera, those are JPEG previews, right? So if those are being, I understood what somebody said in the comments, if possibly the camera has some kind of issue where it's displaying those previews for you improperly, even though the photo has been saved correctly on the memory card. This sounds like, once again, we got a Z9 with some kind of strange internal issue.
Yeah, even if you shoot all totally raw, which that's how I shoot, when you hit the preview button, you're getting a JPEG representation of your raw photo, and it's going to be a JPEG representation of how your JPEGs are set up, because you can change things, like
Vivid or whatever.
vivid or
Yeah.
neutral and so forth. And there's also other little settings. If he's never changed anything, if it's all default, he should be fine. But on the Nikon, it's just a JPEG representation of your raw file. It does not. When you look at it, it's not a preview of. It's not a raw preview. It's a JPEG preview.
Yeah, the only thing I've changed in the preview is I've shot this way for years is I keep it all on monochrome. So I don't even look at a color preview of my image.
Interesting.
Hey, Tony Day wants to call in. I'm going to merge the call. Tony, call the number. Hang on. Let me put it back up here. Sorry. It happens every time I put a chat comment up there. Call in. I'll see if I can merge these calls. Here you go. My expertise in technology. Yeah, I have no idea, man. It's interesting. 2 times we've been stumped. Stump the panel day. Here we go. Hang on. Let me see if I can.
I keep looking at my phone to see who's calling me because I have my earbuds in.
Now, how do I merge? All right. Tony, I guess I got you. I've got Joe on hold. How do I Here we go. Here we go. Merge calls. That would be the easiest way, wouldn't it? And back to Rodecaster Pro. All right. So, Joe, Tony's in here now. Tony?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Don.
So I had now I don't know because I haven't shot with your particular camera, but I had the same issue with a Fuji camera that I used to use. It was the XT1 and then the XH1 later. When I would shoot raw only, the previews would always be blurry. Didn't matter if I punched into the pixel level or if I left it, completely wide where you're seeing the entire image. And it was really annoying. And only when I shot RAW plus fine JPEG did I actually see what the sharpness was supposed to be in the file. It could be, and I'm not going to say that this is the case with your camera, but it could be that when you're previewing the RAW, yes, you're going to get a JPEG representation, but it could be like a thumbnail and not like the full res of that image. So I would say before you do anything, check by shooting RAW plus, I don't know if there's a fine JPEG or regular JPEG or whatever, just make sure it's a full resolution. Do that, and then shoot only RAW. And then when you go back to preview, see if there's any difference at all. Like I said, I can't say that it's the same with your camera, but it has been like that in cameras I've used in the past. That's why I always shoot RAW fine now.
That's weird. I just did a test shot, and it is sharper.
It is?
Yeah, just by looking through the viewfinder.
All right.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I saw you, David. You were experimenting there.
Well, I was just looking at mine. I shoot totally raw to both cards, and mine are sharp through each, on the back of the screen. But what I was gonna say too is, if you shoot raw plus JPEG fine, when you hit preview, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pull that JPEG from that particular card. Sometimes you have to look to see which card it's reading from, because you can scroll through your images and you'll see if it's switched from card 1 to card 2. So, you got to make sure when you're previewing what card it's reading from.
So you saying that on 2 cards?
Yeah, if you're using 2 cards, which is, that's if you're going to shoot raw plus JPEG fine. When you hit the preview button, you'll see the image, and it'll show which card it's pulling from card 1 or card 2, and you have to kind of scroll through there.
So did he just take a photo though that showed up sharp on the back of the camera?
I don't know. Did you take a new photo just now?
Yeah.
And that corrected your problem?
I only have one card in it right now.
Okay, please hold and we'll take your credit card information over the phone.
Operators are standing by.
When the panel doesn't get stumped, we get paid.
All
No, wait,
right,
we had a caller.
All right. So what's the answer? I missed it. I'm over here.
I think he
Taking
changed
care
the
of
shoot instead of just raw to shooting raw plus JPEG fine. And then when he went to display the image on the camera, it actually showed up sharp, which is really strange.
Yeah, that is
That
weird.
would tell me there's a software issue in that camera. I wonder if you could update the firmware, maybe?
Well, I think probably it may not have come up because probably most people have 2 cards in there and have both cards with being used. One's an overflow or a backup, one or the other. But
I only shoot to 1 card.
Yeah, that's the way I did. I downloaded some images while ago. That's why I only have 1 card in here.
Yeah, I only shoot to 1 card. The others, what is it?
Well,
not backup, but overflow. Yeah,
overflow. Yeah, that's what I do. I have it as an overflow because I just shoot raw all the time too. I don't shoot JPEG, but
yeah,
you sissies won't shoot JPEG.
No.
Maybe that color data.
Creative control.
There you go, brother. There you go. Tony, what do you think here?
I have since, I don't know, many years ago, shoot raw plus JPEG for the reasons that Joe's talking about.
Okay.
So I haven't used the camera yet that when I shoot raw only, it looks like the same amount of sharpness as if I was shooting raw plus fine JPEG. So, I can't speak to anybody else's experience. I just know what mine is like. And I don't shoot Nikon cameras, so I can't speak to how the normal way that Nikon is. And for everybody, seeing sharpness like on a screen is different. Like everybody's different, because to you, sharp means one thing, and then to me, it might mean something completely different from what I'm used to.
Yep.
Yeah, and it also that's why I was asking about resolution, like the size of the resolution on the screen that you're looking at, and like how it's being sampled in camera too. Because if an image isn't prepped properly for screen you're looking at, it's going to look weird. It can have like artifacts from it looking like it's over sharpened, or it can look totally blurry because it's not doing a proper sample down into that resolution. So it's troubleshooting this kind of thing is not that easy. But the raw plus JPEG thing has always worked for me. So, I mean, I always throw away the JPEGs because I only use raw. But, just one of those things that
Interesting.
you end up having to do. So.
Yeah, man, very interesting. And, thanks for bringing another option in here to try.
Yeah, I'm going to do
I would have never thought that I would have to shoot both.
And
I never
another good
noticed it.
point, since I'm going back into weddings next year, and I'm going to go ahead and say something about gear, is I hope that the Z8 has a dual card slot. I love the dual card slot on the Z5, and I was shocked the Z6 didn't have one.
Well, you can bet the Z8 is going to have a dual card slot. The question is, will they be matching cards? Will they both be CF Express B?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
That's the question. All right, guys. Hey,
Well,
Joe.
thanks, Tony, for your help.
I appreciate it, Tony. Thank you, and thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
I've been complaining and cussing under my breath for a while with it, and I hate going through 3,000 photos of only a couple of subjects, thinking I only got one sharp one.
Yeah, and I know the back of the screen doesn't tell us everything, but you want to at least be confident when you look at the back of the screen that you've got the shot that you want. So I understand that 100%. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, Joe. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tony, for your help.
I can help out. See you guys.
All right, Tony. Thank you, man.
Tony.
That was awesome. We actually got that and that one figured out. I never would have thought of that.
I'm going to have to do some experiment with that and just see.
I'm going to, on my older bodies.
To see if I see a difference. Because I've never seen anything on the back of my camera unless I've missed focus. Everything looks good, other than my eye issue, which is just me. But
yeah. Hey, Mazen, he said he looked through the EVF and it was the same way. He just couldn't, he wasn't comfortable that the photos were sharp. But in the little test there, you could see the difference.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't cull from the LCD either, but being in the field and shooting a client, I would freak out if I didn't think I was getting sharp images. I would lose it.
Yeah.
Muzz, man. Gotta love it. Oh, man. You found your home.
Okay, Chuck, I'm cruising and looking for you, buddy. B&H Lacey 32 terabyte 2-bay RAID array, Thunderbolt 3. So you got two 16 terabyte hard drives, 1504, and then there's a $205 coupon applied in your cart once you.
No, we can find it cheaper than that. I'm cheap, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I want cheap.
Yeah, but you also said you wanted a lot of terabytes too.
Yeah, but I think Mozman's onto something there. I can find those. So, I don't know what I'll wind up with, honestly, as long as it works and it works well enough. We can go over that conversation too from Photo Me Ike. It works for me.
I want those Vahagen level deals.
Yeah. Fast, cheap, and good. Yep. You get to pick two only. I'm going to take, I'll take good and cheap for 200.
Good and cheap for 200. Well, let me see what I could find for you. A flash drive, did that work for you?
Yeah. So I got a few more days before I have to make a decision here, but I'm definitely ready to buy something. I can get on the desk here. And I mean, you guys, who was it? Greg Wilson, you asked this earlier. Yeah, by the way, there is yet another Friday, a Black Friday deal all the photos that have been in the reviews will be 50% off. This week and this week only. Then we're going to start again for the year in December.
And
All
that's
right.
why he started the Nikon Amateurs group as well, to
Yeah,
collect even
exactly.
more photos.
He's making NFTs out of all of our
He
stuff.
doesn't call it theft. He just calls it borrowing. Borrowing. I'm going to borrow
Oh,
your
man.
photo.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I might have to experiment tomorrow with that just to see if there's any noticeable difference in the viewfinder and the back of the screen.
Yeah, if it messes up on you, then they have a firmware bug, because that
Yeah,
should
for
not
sure.
do that.
For sure.
Crazy.
They
I mean, anything's possible.
yeah.
It could be producing, some type of really low res thumbnail that it's showing you versus, but it's crazy.
Oh, man. Love the comments now.
I'm telling you, people that don't read the comments when they go back and watch these just don't understand.
I like Chuck is looking for stone tablets and hammer and chisel.
That's my speed right there.
There you
That's
go.
my speed right there. Yeah, so I can get all these photo reviews in one spot. My computer. I bought this. See, I just bought 1 terabyte internal memory. I think might have been 2. I may have splurged, but you know what? It don't take long to take up 2 terabyte anymore either. I'm finding out, and I need to get it off the computer somewhere else. So I'm looking forward to picking something up here soon. Oh, yeah, thumb drives. I got plenty of those. That's been my complaint, Greg. I've got thumb drives. I got external hard drives. I got them in a drawer. Yeah, I'm organized.
That being said, thumb drives are getting larger and larger storage space on them. I don't know how reliable they are, but they are getting bigger and bigger. I think they got like another over a terabyte now in flash drives, and that's crazy.
Do they? Man, and as slow as it is.
Well, yeah, think about it. They've got terabyte solid or the SD cards now. And that just blows my mind. I think they have a micro SD that's 512. I just that, and with that type of advancement in memory and the size, it's exciting because of all the things that have gone up, memory has not really seen. Memory seems to have gone backwards. I found some old newspaper clippings one day, 10 megabyte hard drive, and I said megabyte, $699. Like back in the day, that's why people don't understand the JPEG was invented, because we needed a file that would work across systems and be universal and not destroy the computer with one photograph.
Hey, I got a 2 gig CF or compact flash card that I still own. I found in a drawer.
Oh, I still have 2 gigabyte SD cards because it's the only ones my D50 will recognize, because back then that was as big as they made. And I put an 8 gig in it and it wouldn't recognize it.
Western Digital has a 14 terabyte external drive, not a RAID, for $259.
Yeah, I found a bunch of those. There are some great deals out there for those. Travel, well, that's not necessarily the travel hard drive, but there are both good deals on both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to get upwards of 15 terabyte, because I know me. I'm just going to clog it full.
Nick, I hope so. I hope so, because I really, my Z6, I guess, is the first camera I've ever owned that's had this type of card, this XQD, and it's so fast. I love it.
Oh, so, man.
I hope those prices start coming down on those.
Man, it's hard to believe.
I remember that, man. I remember that. I remember my first actual data storage was I had taken a TRS-80 color computer and the cable that went from the computer to a cassette deck. and I couldn't afford the cassette deck, but we had a home stereo, and I cut into the wires and figured out which wires went to which, and
Yeah.
made my home stereo unit a storage device for my computer.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, Greg. No, that's not going to happen because I'm not monetized, so I can't accept payments or anything. But on the down low, I'll have a separate page set up. No,
But if everybody would just like and subscribe.
exactly. That's all you got to do. You know, I go back to the other day, all the big names, influencers and everything else, whether they have tons of subscribers or not, they just feel like they're, the big influencers or whatever, make fun of somebody like me or well, anybody on this panel right now, actually, those of us that aren't huge YouTubers in everybody's eyes, make fun of us asking for a like or a subscription. Yet in every one of their videos, not only do they ask, but they have the high speed graphics that show it. And,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay then. So it's just talking about hypocrites. That's hilarious to me. Oh man. Um, let's see. We'll also work with them down. Yeah, talking about price on XQD won't come down, but CF Express, which will also work, will continue to come down as competition continues to expand.
Okay, so this is something that I don't understand the difference in XQD and CF Express.
Okay, well, Nikon was the first adopter of XQD, even though it was a conglomeration that came together for XQD, and SanDisk, I guess, had the majority share in that, as they
mine
do in
says
CF
Sony.
Express.
So XQD, they're physically the same
they're like-
type of card,
That little
but
thing right
just faster CFS Express, way faster chipset on them than
Okay.
XQD. That's
Okay.
your difference. It's all about
Okay.
speed.
So they're
And they'll-
It's the
interchangeable.
architecture.
Yeah,
it's
you
the
can stick
architecture
a
within the
XQD
card.
in your Z9. It's just going to
Okay.
run slower than the faster CFS Expresses.
Okay. See, I learned something again. I just can't stop learning.
Oh,
It's kind of like, how many lanes of traffic you got going on at the same time, depending on the standard that's used in the architecture of the chip.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the CFEB can handle a lot more lanes of information and process things a lot quicker. So that's why
Okay.
it costs more.
hey, Greg, don't tell anybody, but you're absolutely right. That's exactly what's going to happen. I can keep more clutter.
I thought that was the point.
Well, it is for me, but I didn't want to
My
let
point.
that. I didn't want to let
I
that
don't
out.
want to get my life together. I just want more storage space.
I wanted Mozman to think that I would actually clean up my act when I get the storage here, and he would help me more. But once he finds out that it becomes a dumpster for me,
I was about to say, if I had 32 gig or 32 terabytes more storage, but I would at least feel like I was in order. Because I'd have a bigger garage to put all my junk in.
yeah, what's funny is NICAM brings up the history here, a little bit of the history of
Okay.
XQD and CF Express. But yeah, it's funny that Sony, I guess Sony has a large stake in the XQD development, but they never used it.
Yeah. Weird.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. And even with CF Express, that was that question. We posed that question in a live stream. Are they doing it just with CF Express A? Why won't they go to CF Express B? I don't get it.
Well, only thing is if it's because of the size, if the card is smaller and they have smaller bodies, but
Okay,
still.
here's my ignorance showing, which is throughout the show, every show. Is there a size difference in CF Express A and B? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
It's smaller,
Yeah.
thinner. The A is
It's-
smaller and thinner.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
they're
So A and B
slower.
are they don't interchange.
No,
No.
they're
Okay,
slower
okay.
and more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Slower and more
Yeah.
expensive.
Slower
Yeah,
and
okay,
more
they are.
expensive.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want the CF. You don't want the A.
I want faster, cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
A's are about the size of an SD card, but a little thicker. They kind of look similar. But yeah, they're a slower and more expensive technology.
You know, I feel for Sony shooters. I mean, I don't know
They got to pay a premium to
They're
put
getting
cards in
screwed
there.
because the price won't go down because they're the only brand using those cards.
now
Yeah.
if I were a Sony shooter, I'm going to tell you right now that would be rant worthy on a regular basis
Yeah.
for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
There's a
there's
good question.
no logical
question.
reason to use the A's at all. They're not any more durable than the
No.
B's. No difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a Sony thing. It's just a Sony
It
thing.
is. It's a Sony. Yeah.
Well, so do they want to stay so proprietary that,
Yes.
or what is it? Because their hot
I
shoe
guess.
mount is a different size. It is literally a different size than the standard hot shoe across all other brands. I
Think
don't get
about
that
Sony as a consumer electronics manufacturer and their life in the game system world. Yeah, they love proprietary. So for that to bleed over into the cameras would make sense.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for their shooters because it hurts their shooters. But they don't
Yeah.
care. It's just like Apple and Android. Once you get in an ecosystem and these companies are like, oh, we can build our own little thing. And when you
Yeah.
get in here, we got you. You know, I just hope that Nikon and other people don't take notes from that because I think it's a bad business model. I think eventually
Well,
it is. I mean, it's
but
not,
see
I guess,
that
because you get all the sales, but
well, but that's the funny thing about it is they've been able to hold on to it and continue, with their customer base.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
yeah.
I mean, why would you want to do that? I guess if you're a manufacturer, what are the benefits of that?
I guess you just
I mean,
trap the
there's
dollar. I mean, because they can't go in, they literally can't go anywhere else but you to get what they need.
There's a comment right there. You know, the guy was somebody here was planning on getting an A7R5, but no CFX Express B. And, so it was a deal breaker for them,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
man.
know. It's,
So there you
Yeah.
go. Whereas when they get the Sony people that really enjoy Sony products, they're kind of trapped in it. Whereas where they shoot themselves in the foot is like this person here is a great example of someone coming to the ecosystem and going, oh, wait, you don't
Yeah.
have in here what I want. I'm not coming in.
yeah.
So it's a double-edged
Whereas
sword.
down below, you see Six String Brian commented, he said, the A1 is so good. He puts up with the high price of
Right.
the
Yeah.
card, which is fine. It is a
Yeah.
good camera. It's a
Yeah.
great camera, but you're going to pay that premium for
Yeah.
your memory cards.
Like I said, if I was shooting Sony alone, that'd be rant central because that's just crazy.
But they do give you the option, like
Okay.
Six String said, you
Okay.
can use SD or type A's in your so you have the option to even use cheaper cards in there.
That's good, at least. That's
Yeah.
so what's the point of the slower, more expensive card even existing other than just to get people that don't know?
Well, it's faster than an SD, I think, if I'm right, but not as fast as the Type B.
Maybe it
Yeah.
dissipates heat
So-
better too.
I don't know. I don't
either.
know about the
I don't know.
technical.
The Type A, the Sony Type A cards. I'm looking at a 160 gigabyte. I'm going to do.
They do call them the Sony Type A tough cards, I think. is what
Type
they
A
call them.
tough card.
Okay.
It's 800
Okay.
megabytes a second read speed max and 700 megabytes a second write speed, which is a lot slower than a Type B. That's like half the speed.
Yeah.
Like half the speed.
So what's your fastest possible read write speed on an SD card? I wonder.
Hmm.
I don't know what those are. I haven't.
They're probably
I don't
slower,
know.
I'm sure, but
I mean, this card I have here is an SD, and it's only 95 megabits per second.
Yeah, but I'm like,
So,
what are we
I don't know.
shooting? Well, not y'all. I mean, but me personally, not having a Z9, I don't have to worry about all that crazy stuff.
And you know what? And anybody that has XQD cards, if you throw them away when you got a Z9 or a Z7 or Z6 or Z7, you're crazy.
Oh yeah,
Because
I have all mine. I
I
kept them
do
all.
too. And I'll put them in. If I'm just shooting in the studio, there's no difference
That's right.
which
Yeah.
card I
Zero.
have in the camera.
Exactly. There's zero difference.
And it's a good way to save your your expensive CF Express B, like the Delkin Blacks. Why put them through all that casual use? I put the XQD cards in there, shoot all day long, download them. I really don't have a problem with the download speed or anything else on those cards. So yeah, so you can use both. And Huff DSLRs, the D850. There was a firmware update, and you can use CF Express or XQD cards in the same, in the slot on the
Okay.
camera.
Yeah.
Will the
Here's
Z6
your
do that too?
price comparison. The Sony, when it's not on sale, the Type A card, 160 gigabyte, is $398, and you can get a Lexar 256 gigabyte Type B card for $1 more. So you get twice the capacity, and it's faster for $1 more. So there's your difference.
Yes, Greg. Yes, absolutely. Needs a different reader.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And this is a good point too, Daryl. Another
And
great
actually-
point to bring up.
I was going to say, actually, XQD and CF are different readers as well.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
That is
got two different readers on my desk right now. I got one for
Yeah.
SDXC2 and XQD, and then I got another one for CFEB and
I don't know if they
SD
do they
well.
make a. I haven't looked. Do they make a reader that does XQD and CFX Express B now? I don't even know.
I haven't seen it.
I have an
I
X-
think
I
I
have an
would have
X-
bought it if they had it at the time. I probably would have bought it, but I
This
ended
is
up
an
with
old
two readers.
Lexar XQD reader, and then I've got the Angel Bird CFX Express reader that I got with one of my cards,
Yeah.
and that's what I use. But I don't know if they make one that does them all now.
That's
So-
a good point, Daryl. Use your XUD cards. You already have them. You're not gonna. I mean, if you're not using them for anything else, put your settings on an XUD card so you're not tying up one of your expensive CF Express B cards. Absolutely.
So the CFS Express Type B and XQD are interchangeable.
In your camera, as far as
In your
shooting
camera.
with, yeah,
For
Yes,
shooting.
but
But
not,
you'll-
not with your reader.
but you'll
Not
need
with the
different
reader.
readers. Yeah,
Okay.
as far as I know, I don't know if they've come out with a reader that does both now. I don't think they have, but
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's common. The reading SD and for dual card readers is CF Express B and SD. That's common. You see that quite often.
Okay, I found a Sony CF Express Type B and an XQD memory card reader that Sony makes for $100. But
I think
it's
somebody in the comments
just-
just mentioned they had a Sony one that does them both.
yeah, Sony does both, but it's right, but it's not like you can. But now you don't have the SD card reader; it's only the two, the B Type B and the XQD, $99.99. Sony.
So,
Hey, Jonathan, when you're setting up your camera with all the custom commands that you use or assignment of buttons or changing different buttons or whatever, you can save all that to a card so that
Yeah.
if you have to, every time you do a firmware update now, you're going to have to save your settings in camera before the firmware update, do the firmware update, and then put the settings back in the camera using a card. So that's what we're talking about.
so on Amazon, Nikon actually has branded XQD cards.
Yeah, way too expensive.
Yeah, way too expensive.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they don't make them; they just buy them from somebody
No.
else and put
Right.
their name on it.
there you go. There you go, Greg. Yeah, to make you a better photographer too. The
Yep.
composition with with CF Express B, the compositions get better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
And the larger the card
start
you
a new
buy, the
rumor.
better it is too.
there you go. Exactly. Exactly. Imagine when they get these 4 terabyte cards out.
You'll
Well,
never
they
miss
have
a
them.
shot.
Yeah. Oh man. Here, Jonathan,
Funny.
didn't know. Yep, you can save your settings in camera. However you set your camera up, you can save it to a card, and then you can go back to that card after you do your firmware update, or if you have to go back to factory default or for whatever reason.
You have an
I
option of load or save settings, so you can, if you add the two to the same body and you configure one camera, then you can copy all the settings and put it on the other body, and you
There
don't
you
have to
go.
start all over again,
There you
which
go.
saves a lot of time.
And this is why using an XQD card is so, neat, because you're not tying up a CF Express B card for a long time. Obviously, you would, excuse me, M&Ms, too many M&Ms. Obviously, that card may sit around for a month or 2 months or 6 months with your settings on it until you need to use it again. You don't want to tie up an expensive high speed CF Express B card. Great idea, Daryl. I hadn't thought of it. It's so simple. I hadn't thought of it. Hmm.
Wow, they actually make a reader that does Type B, XQD, and SD.
Man,
It's a no name brand that I've never heard of, but they do have one out there that does them all now.
wow.
Yeah, I've got one here. I think it's a Sony that does XQD and SD. Yeah. That's not a Sony.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with a couple of people before. Tony, Nikon bit the bullet and went to XQD, and then it just became common. There is no, it's just like so many other things when you do resets or whatever. There is no best time. Forget that. There's not going to be a point where everybody's going to be extremely happy that we're getting rid of one card and going to another. But typically, at least in my opinion, it's better to get it over with, yank that Band-Aid off and make it happen rather than to continue to go down that path, because now you're going to alienate even more people, because everybody that bought up to that point,
Well,
the latest camera is going to be ticked off because Sony does pick up another more common
like they did
memory.
with the memory stick back in the
well,
day.
the
I
thing-
remember
the
that.
thing is, the
Yeah.
It's
thing
going
is
to
his
tick people
comment.
off no matter what. That's
Yeah,
the bottom line. There's
the
no
thing
way
is,
around that.
The thing is, his comment only applies because they didn't come out they didn't use the Type B to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
No,
yeah, now
right.
that everybody has Type A's, yeah, they're going to be mad. But I mean, they should have come out and used the Type B like everybody else was going to use to begin with. So
No,
now it would tick them off. But Sony made a bad decision on day one. That's what it comes down to. And now you're paying for it because you got to pay more for your cards, and they're slower. And this is coming from a camera brand that shoots high-end video. So it costs you even more. If you got to buy a 1 terabyte, I mean, I don't know how high a Type A card goes in terms of storage, but I can imagine how much more you're paying. If you were a high video content creator, you got to be screaming your head off right now.
Yeah,
so I can't
512
answer
Type
this
B.
question, Jonathan, but I believe that they have to be the same model. I may be wrong. It's Stump the Panel Day, so I'll throw it to the panel here. Does the body have to be the same? Could you share settings of a Z7 II to a Z6 II?
That's a toss-up because they're basically the same except for the megapixels.
Yeah, I believe so.
So there might be a slim chance that might work between bodies, but I wouldn't bet any money on it. But there's better than a 50-50 chance that it might work. But I'd have to try it, and I don't own either camera body, so I can't do it for you. But
Yeah.
Might be something on the forums on Nikon's website where people have asked that question, though. You might be able to find it on the Nikon website.
Yeah.
But
Your
really,
best-
Cannot do it from the Z6 to a Z6 II will not work.
you know,
And it says if you're moving it from a Z6 II to a Z7 II, make sure they're running the same firmware update.
So there you go.
well, yeah,
Or you
that's the
may get
problem.
an error
They're not the
message.
same firmware update, right? Everybody's complaining the Z7 II, Z6 II had got updated better than the Z7 II.
Yeah, you're better off err on the side of caution and
Yeah.
just only copy between the same body.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew that about Sony, Tony. Is this just late in the latest few bodies that they've produced that it's interchangeable, meaning you can run SD or A in either of the slot? I don't know. I don't know how long they've been doing that.
Well, most of the people that are buying A1s, they're spending $6,500 on a camera body already. I most of them are probably not too worried about how much it costs to get the memory, the Type A cards for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to spend that much money on the body and plus whatever lens they're putting behind the thing, that's the least of their worries is how much their memory's costing.
Okay, so here's somebody that wrote into one of the forums and said it's not possible to move from Z6 to Z7 or Z6 II to Z7 II due to the fact that their menu systems are different.
Yeah, that would be a big big no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same
Okay.
body, yeah. Then basically same body only.
Albert,
Wow.
glad to know that we're helping you out, man. Sitting down there in traffic, listening to us babble. All right, good deal.
Yeah, Tony, nobody's knocking Sony or anything really for. I mean,
no.
and yeah,
Oh,
I know you're
no.
not defending them. It's not that big a deal either, really. It's just that's the camp.
Well,
I mean, when you're a Sony shooter, that's what you get to use. And
Hey, Tony, you guys can rent me out. I'm pretty cheap on the hour, and I'll go on the Sony channel and rant for you. No, seriously. Again, if I was shooting Sony, you don't think that I would be crazy red faced over this, man?
yeah, and that's not even like a point to saying that that's a bad thing about Sony as much as it's a
No, it's
bad
just
decision for its
it's a bad
shooters and its
decision.
customers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you don't take great pictures with the Sony. It has
I'll
nothing
tell you,
to do
there's
with
some
that.
photographers I follow out of Australia that have a channel on YouTube that do street photography and they shoot Sony. And a lot of it, of course, is their way they edit their images and stuff. But I absolutely love the way the Sonys look in nighttime street photography and how these guys edit their images and stuff. I just think they're phenomenal.
Hey guys, I gotta read this since Albert's out there fighting traffic. He can't read the comments, I'm guessing. And Mozman says, Albert Jimenez, this stream is in gridlock too, brother. All right. We got to keep you up to date, Albert. Oh man.
If
All
I was
right.
ever going
Wow.
to jump ship
We
on
went
Nikon,
around
it
the
would have
track.
been
A lot today.
Yeah, it would have been moving from the F to the Z mount because that was literally like changing systems. I know there's adapters, but that was like really like stepping between two tall buildings.
It is, especially if your plan is to get rid of all your F mount stuff, which is what I did.
It wasn't in the beginning, but now that I've seen what the Z glass does, I'm like, oh no, this stuff's got to go.
I did the same thing, and it truly was like switching systems.
Yeah, I'm staring at your
the most
email. How many things can I eBay?
Yeah. What I like is when I look at a lot of vintage cameras a lot. So I love it when I see a description on a vintage camera and it says near mint condition, fantastic, and the thing looks like it's been sitting in the the dust bag of a vacuum cleaner for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And they don't even try to clean it, but it's supposedly in mint condition and it functionally works perfect. And it looks like something that obviously you dug it out of grandpa's basement that's been sitting there for 30, 40 years and
I found this in a bag.
green gook all over it and dust all over it. And it's mint. Oh my God.
This is
crazy.
This is the first 35 millimeter Nikon film camera I bought years ago at a camera shop. I bought it when I was already shooting with the D700. It's an N80. And this is why I'm hanging on the F-mount lenses, because I actually want to go back now. There's been so much talk about, and I've seen so many really cool film camera shots. I'm like, I want to shoot film again. And I'm like, I need to hang on to some F-mount lenses just so I can go back and play and let myself play with film and stuff like that again. Because for me, when I really got into photography, digital had already taken over. So I missed all of that. And I had a friend of mine at the time that she actually owned a dark room and everything was going to teach me. And I never took the time. And I really regret that. I really wish I would have taken the time and learned how to develop in a dark room and all that. I think it'd be an amazing experience.
Hey, Greg, don't let that hold you back, brother. I've got plenty of external drives. I'll find one with a couple of digits left on it for your photo.
The only F-mount glass I won't get rid of is the 500 PF. It's just too dang convenient and small and easy to carry around.
Yeah, I'm keeping some of mine only because I'm not getting rid of my D850 body. That's still that has a special place in my heart. So, and I can't get nothing for the F-mount glass I have left anyway. So
that's the problem I'm running into. It actually is not worth selling.
I'll hang on to. The way I looked at it, anything that was a lens that was from a genre that I don't shoot as much anymore, I'm not like freaking out like I have to have the zoom out version of it. But if it's something that is like, okay, I'm going to use these 3 lenses 90% of the time, then they're going to be Z-mount lenses, But if it's something that is, okay, once in a while I'm going to use this, shoot something different, I'm not going to spend the extra money. I'll use the adapter with the F-mount glass.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. For me,
I mean, I'm adapting glass that doesn't exist right now because this is my Sigma 85 millimeter 1.4.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm adapting it because it doesn't exist. I can't shoot 1.4 any other way right now. So
yeah.
But I'm excited to know that, those things are on the roadmap, I guess, the 35-1.2 and the 85-1.2. And I know they'll be insanely expensive, but I'm hoping that when that time comes around, I'll be back to where I've got clients that, I could justify that expense, because I really love a nice, I shot zooms for a long time, and when I shifted over to primes, I fell in love with prime lenses. And the only reason I have a zoom again is, event stuff. Sometimes I can't move where I want to move to. So still got to get the shot.
You got to make sure you have clients that pay in cash and not with fish.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey,
Although right now I would take fish.
Daryl,
I'm going to make a shirt.
There'll be a bunch of people getting rid of their 200 to 500s when that 200-600 comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. When it comes out. When it comes out. Nikon.
Are you listening?
But hey, the super brains the other night, they set it all straight for me, talking about Nikon has knocked it out off the planet by their strategy right now of all the super telephoto lenses. And while it is a great idea, before the World Cup, and of course they're out now so that they'll be out and available during the Olympics as well. But, the thousands of people that are waiting for a lens that has been on the roadmap before some of the others that are already out were
Yeah.
put on the roadmap.
Yeah.
And considering the number of people that do shoot birds either as a hobby or shoot wildlife as a hobby or whatever, that are looking for long telephoto lenses, especially a zoom, that's going to be considerably, it'll cost less than the lens hood on the 600 f4 TC. And that would be bad strategy to get lenses out that would actually sell in the boatload.
That,
Right.
but the 17 to 28 2.8 that they released recently, I saw a video on that,
Every
and the
bird
person
watcher
mentioned
out
it
there
wasn't
was,
on the
yeah.
roadmap,
But you know
and I
what?
thought that was
Every
interesting.
wildlife photographer out there was waiting for that lens, though.
They were.
Brian. That
Oh,
28
really?
to 75. Yeah. Everybody was waiting for that lens.
28 to 75. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
He is being sarcastic.
Wait a minute.
Brian.
I reached over to turn my sarcastic filter on. I was like, oh, yeah.
You
that's-
had-
you know
had
what
to
I
go,
like?
though. You were like looking real serious.
I know.
There.
Oh, well, I said 17 to 28, 2.8
Changed it
that
to the-
recently, and he changed it to 12. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did you
Hey.
did you see when Amar and J Rod were at the Conowingo Dam and Amar panned down? He goes, "If you think people aren't buying long lenses, think again." As he panned down and looked at all the people with the long lenses.
Yeah.
Long lenses sell. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. And again, back to those that aren't invested in mirrorless, or you're new to photography and you're serious because you've had a whatever camera and now you're really wanting to get into it. Be a great time to jump into pro equipment in the Nikon camp, because F-mount, DSLR, and everything else is very cheap now. You can have better equipment better gear than a lot of the pros that are out there at nearly a quarter of the cost.
Yeah, the
I mean,
money
you're
I
not-
could get for my F-mount
you're going to have to
lenses.
upgrade somewhere down the road. It's going to cost you an
Yeah.
arm and a leg, but at least right now you can have absolute pro gear at a quarter of the cost, the original cost.
I looked at selling some of my other F-mount glass that I wanted to switch over to Z, and then when I was looking at what I would get for it, I was like, I'm going to keep it for a backup, because what I can get for it's actually insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
when I get offered 100 and I think it was $130 for the 105 macro F mount.
Yep, same thing, same lens.
In EX plus condition. Why would I sell it to somebody for that?
It's same
You
thing,
wanna-
man. I
You
have the
wanna give
same
me
lens.
400 If you want to give me 400 or 450, yeah, I'll
Right.
take that. But I'm
Hey,
not gonna
Mike.
And
pay
that's so
130 bucks.
reasonable.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's still
Moz.
reasonable.
The Hagen talked to a wildlife shooter, one of his clients, remember? That 28 to 75 is even better than the 24 to 70 he talked about. You got 5 more millimeter on the long end.
Hey, that 2875 f2.8 is a sharp lens for not being an S lens.
Look, I'm not taking anything away from it at all. It's just funny though. And what? Spin the wheel, gentlemen.
Yeah.
What are we going to release today?
You know what?
Yeah.
We don't have it on the map yet. That's
Chuck,
okay.
They say size matters, Chuck.
What's the difference between the S-line lenses and the non-S line lenses?
There's an S on one of them and no S on the other.
Yeah.
The S-line lenses may have probably have better motors in them. They may have more than one motor in them. Some of the non-S might only have one motor, and a S lens might have 2 motors in it. So it's not an apples to apples. It's 2 completely.
I was
different
just curious. I didn't understand what made the distinction.
There's enough inside that's different and better to make it.
I figured it
worth
was
the
a
extra money,
quality
in my
thing, but
opinion, if you can afford it.
But I'm a cheap S, so I can't be looking at every.
You got to start charging more for your more than getting more fish. Like
I can't charge anymore because nobody's buying it to begin with. I mean,
Thank you.
If I raise my prices, will they come?
You know what?
I'm
I've got a
pretty sure
funny story about that. I doubled my wedding prices and our business doubled when we were doing weddings back when we were really, really going. And I've always heard photographers say that. And I actually saw it happen. And I don't understand it. I don't know why it happened at the time. Like maybe it was just because of that was back around 2012 to 2014. Actually, we tripled our prices. And the business just kept coming. But then one day it's like somebody shut the faucet off and it just stopped. And so I made a very quick maneuver to another company that I had started and did that for a few years while I let the dust settle. And now I feel like it's coming back. Thanks to COVID ending, I feel like a lot of weddings and events and everything got put off, and everybody's like 2023 is our year, and that's why I'm making my move to come back in 2023 is because I'm hoping that the demand's going to outweigh the supply of professionals in the market where I'm at. I'm probably wrong, but
Well,
at least I'll get to go hang out in Nashville with Chuck every now and then, maybe.
Yeah,
I've
man.
a lot of
I'm
market.
excited.
I am too, because that means I'm out of here.
I've watched a lot of marketing, took a lot of marketing classes on photography, starting your own business type of thing. And I can say I have not practiced what I've watched, because what I've watched, it will tell you basically something that in most people's mind doesn't make any sense. And it's like, the more you charge for your photo, the more you're going to sell. Because
It's
if you
so
price
weird.
you price it too low, people think you're just a hack. If you price it high, people think you're a pro. And I hate to say there's some truth in that, but I struggle with that because I'm retired. I'm not looking
It
to
feels
make
like
the
you're
money.
lying
I'm
to
not looking to
somebody.
make money to pay my mortgage or nothing,
Right.
type of thing. So to me, it's like I want to offer value to somebody and give them a good product.
Yep.
And that's my belief growing up from being a little kid and my
It's
dad having
ingrained in me. Like I can't
business.
fight it. Yeah.
But they tell you, every class you will take will tell you, don't cheapen out on what you charge for your work.
Because it's perceived value. They think because
perceived
it
value.
costs more,
Yeah.
it's worth more.
It's
And
worth
even
more because it costs more, and it might not
Yeah.
be any better than the guy charging $50 for a print that you're charging $400 for. But
I got some terrible photos I could sell for a hearty price.
Is that all I need to do is increase my prices? Dang it.
Yeah.
increase your prices, man.
It's-
That's what the marketing
so
guru
insane.
tell you.
Just so you guys know, your worth just went up too, because I've got all those photos you sent in. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. We're at 3 hours and 30 something minutes.
Oh,
That's
wow.
great. And
I haven't
and
even
I do
eaten today.
appreciate everybody being in here. It's been a great chat today, by the way. Stump the Panel. That's going to be the new
Yeah,
title.
that was great. Actually,
That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
was.
gonna lie. My
And I
fingers
hope-
are sore from Googling.
It's just some interesting issues that people are experiencing that
Yeah.
it was just interesting to hear the different things.
Dave
Yeah.
and I scratched all the hair off our heads with
Yeah.
There you go, man.
I'm
And I love-
starting on this side.
you guys got to remind me to open the phone number up more often, because I think it's great. Daggone it. I start talking about the phone number and now I can't talk. But yeah, I want to open the phone up and get people in here. Now that I know I can merge calls, wow, isn't that amazing?
That was so cool.
So yeah, I want to get more people in here and let people come in and talk and everything else. I absolutely want to thank you guys. You guys have carried the load today, and it's been great. It's been interesting all throughout. So thank you, Jeffrey, David, and Brian, Mr. Huffoto there. And to our callers today, thank you very much. It's been interesting. I've learned a lot through the calls from you guys and from the people that have been in the chat. Tony, we got to get you in here. We're going to get Mr. Tony Day in here.
Yeah, he was really good today with helping out, and that was interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Stump Chuck to stop ranting in its tracks. Absolutely. There you go. There you go. Oh man. But yeah, absolutely. I had a great time today. I really did. Some days we have a live stream and I think, man, it's just really dry. Really, I don't know. It just wasn't on point.
Well,
And
we were
but
off last. We were off last weekend. I think
yeah, I don't know what it was.
we
Like
were. We were all, I think we were all really exhausted. I think everybody was like really tired.
yeah, I know I was, but now I get to rejuvenate over the weekend, Thanksgiving Day weekend. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving for those of you
Yeah.
that celebrate it, whether it's in the U.S. or not. And for those of you that don't celebrate it, take a day off. Just take a day off and enjoy. Um, yeah, we're still rolling, Zach. We're still rolling, but we're tying it up right now. Trying to tie a knot in this balloon right now, man. Um, but anyway, again, great show today. Not for me, but because you guys made it. Everybody was having a good time. We're going to continue to do more of this as we go along. Hope the channel grows. We get the word out. I can't say that. I'm sorry. Retract that. The jury will disregard the last statement made by the small YouTuber. All
Hey,
right.
according to some, Chuck, you're all in it for the to grow
I,
like
I,
Master
I am,
Mountain.
I am people, let me just throw it out there and be honest. I'm only in YouTube for the money.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm quitting my day job. I'm going all in on YouTube. There you go.
M&Ms don't buy themselves, people. Like and
That's right.
subscribe.
That is absolutely right.
You
But
can't,
again,
you can't live on ramen noodles forever, Chuck.
no, that's true. But I love how interactive it was today, and that's what I want, man. I want you guys to be able to have a good time, keep it interactive, and that's what the channel's all about again. And again, for those of you that enjoyed it, man, drop a like, make me feel good. It doesn't take much for me to feel like, okay, let's keep this going. Likes always help. So, for those of you that haven't subscribed to any of the channels of the people that are on the screen right now, plus others that are in the description, go down there and click on their channels. Selective Imagery with Jeffrey Neville, Photo, Brian, his channel, and of course, David, D Moots Photography. Check out their channels. You don't have to do anything but click the link, it's in the description. And go check them out, subscribe, like what they're doing.
So hard to click.
Now, I don't know what the rule is on a small YouTube channel promoting another small YouTube channels, but I feel pretty confident that I'm allowed to ask you to go subscribe to their channel. And if not, I'll get beat down by the big YouTubers here soon. They'll make mention of it, that's all this is about. And I also want to, and sincerely, I also want to thank Manny Ortiz for dropping in today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of the big, influencers or YouTubers or whatever you want to call any of them, how many of them will at least drop by and say hello? And I thank you very much, Manny. I don't know if you'll see this at the end, but thank you. And you're welcome back anytime, brother. All right. You guys, I'm gonna turn it over to you to roll out of here, Mr. Hufoto. Go ahead.
Oh, well, Chuck, guys, I hope y'all have an amazing Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me today. This was really fun. I really enjoyed the technical questions, and there were things that I learned, and there were things I never would have even thought about being an issue with the camera today. So that was awesome. So I like the stump the panel thing. That's fun. And you can find all my stuff at Hufoto. And that's it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family too, Brian. Hope you have a wonderful day. Jeffrey.
Hey, to everybody on the panel, everybody out there that watches us, puts up with us, laughs with us, gets mad at us. Have a great Thanksgiving. And eat too. The rule is you have to eat too much. You have to watch too many football games. And you got to let your wife yell at you because you ate too much and you watched too many football games.
That's right.
But, have a great Thanksgiving. And hey, if you get time after the holiday, I threw out a video 5 minutes before I went on Chuck's show. So after you eat and you're tired or you want to get knocked out completely, go to my channel. You will definitely fall asleep. Guaranteed.
All right. And just to add to Jeffrey's comment, if you don't have to undo your belt after eating, then you didn't eat enough. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, David, take us away here.
Hey, I just wanted to ditto what Brian said there. This was great. Had some great questions, call-ins. The issues people were having, and special thanks to Tony Day for calling in and giving that great advice. I'm going to check into that tomorrow, see if there's anything to that as far as at least on my end. I haven't noticed anything like that, but it'll be interesting to see if I see anything different on the back of the screen or even through the viewfinder. That's pretty neat, and. Check out D Moots Photography on YouTube and or D Moots Photography on Facebook. That's where I do a lot of posting of pictures, and now that I'm in Chuck's group there, you probably see a bunch of stuff in there. I've already hit it twice today, so
Awesome.
That's good. That's good.
but everybody have a great Thanksgiving and holidays, and we'll catch you on the next show.
All right, people, you heard it from the Stump. I was going to say Stump the Chump, but that would only pertain to me. Yeah, I can't say Stump the Chump because that's too easy, or Stump Chuck, that's too easy.
We could all be Chuck's Chumps. That'll be our new group that we form.
No.
We got promoted. We got promoted.
You don't want that. You don't want that. Because it's too easy to stump me. But hey, thanks again, guys, for answering the questions of everybody, and I hope the audience had a good time. And we'll see everybody Saturday night, same bat channel right here on AP Studios. What can we get into then? Oh, I'm sure we can find a lot.
I got one last thing.
Yes, sir.
I just had something pop up on Facebook. People are just now posting they're receiving their new 600 F4s.
Cool.
There's already some posts out right now.
I hope you get yours soon, David.
Boy, I'm drooling now looking at this guy.
I better not buy any more Christmas presents, so I could maybe pull the trigger as well.
Your wife is hoping it's not going to arrive today because that would ruin Thanksgiving Day. Sorry, baby, I gotta go shoot. All right,
it would be tough.
Yep. All right, folks. Everybody have a good rest of the day. God bless y'all. I'll see you Saturday night. Jump in, join, have a good time. All right.
See ya.